Alright, what is going on YouTube? Villese versus LaN over here. The last quarterfinals of Collection Cup. The winner gets to meet the winner of Kaposh and Hera's matchup in the semifinals tomorrow. LaN has felt unwell in the preceding hours of this set, and there was some questions if this set is gonna be even played, but LaN decided that he was gonna go for it. He's not feeling well, but he said that he wants to play, give it a shot, and go for it. He has had some insanely inconsistent tournament performances in recent memory, but part of that is that we know that LaN has had an awful internet problems throughout the last like 1.5 years or so. So we really don't know what LaN is capable of when technical difficulties don't hinder him. This time around, he's gonna be up against Villese, who has had some good performings in previous tournaments as well. In this tournament, Villese has gotten through Winchester to get here. He has defeated Winch 3-2. As we jump into the first game over here, we're gonna have a scoreboard being set up over here. First, LaN playing as red with Franks, and that was fast. What happened over here? Someone crashed, probably. It probably seems like it's a crash, and they are gonna rehost the lobby, so I guess that gives us a chance to talk about civs, because one thing I mentioned on stream here is that I like Villese's draft a lot more. I feel like the diversity of the civilizations is much better for him. He's got Huns, Persians, Japanese, Aztecs, Mayans, or Mongols remaining, whereas on the other side, Malians, Britons, Byzantines, Spanish, Franks. Some of these civs are a little underwhelming, or at least a little bit more one-dimensional to my taste, I would say. So, for example, Byzantines feels like a one-trick pony civ with sneaky docks on 4 lakes. Not necessarily a huge fan of that, but we will see what LaN has on his mind. I think after losing Vikings to Snipe, it was somewhat predictable that LaN is going to end up using Franks on Arabia, and maybe that is the reason why Villese didn't feel confident using Aztecs here, because I honestly thought that Aztecs could be his civilization for Arabia. Japanese is probably going for 4 lakes, although technically Huns or Persians could go there as well, but probably Persians make more sense on Nomad, so you can actually assign it over there. And then Japanese or Huns on 4 lakes. Mongols is probably going to be the Valley civilization over here, and it very much seems like if we are going Huns on Arabia, then we are likely going to have Aztecs for Golden Swamp, which is a somewhat awkward civilization selection there for Villese, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of doubt and say that maybe he has a good game plan for that. We will see what he can actually pull off. We're gonna have a spectator countdown of 2 minutes, and when that ends, we'll be able to jump into the first game. Once again, Huns versus Franks on Arabia. A matchup that is probably favoring Huns by a massive margin. Everything that the Franks can do, the Huns can do as well, just better. They have very, very comparable cavalry plays. They have comparable economies as well. And if you think about Huns, they also have the versatility of going for archer plays, cav archers as well. In general, Franks will struggle really badly against cav archers, so I feel like LaN is going to have to play this one pretty aggressive. Otherwise, he will be in trouble. So I could see something like super heavy knights play in early Castle Age, forward siege workshop into Scorpions if Villese tries to switch into cav archers. If not, you can actually continue to play with knights and monks and then pikemen, because eventually you are gonna have probably the better long-term knights play than Huns, especially because when Huns start to mix in halberdiers or pikemen, the Franks can add throwing axemen. So the only thing that Franks don't really have an answer to from Huns is probably their cav archers. So what LaN has to work towards is preventing that cav archer switch from happening, or finishing the game before it would actually materialize, as we will jump into game number 1 once again. This time around, it's going to be a green-looking Arabia. We're going to have LaN on the left side as red Franks, and on the right side, we will have Villese as blue Huns over here. Long time no see for Huns on Arabia. It sort of disappeared when the frame delay of cav archers was increased back in the days, and we haven't seen Hans for a long time on Arabia. Now with Cav Archers being strong once again, Hans has once again became a very much preferred civilization on Arabia. In the era where I was casting myself, I rarely saw Arabia 1v1s with Huns because that was already in the era where the Cav Archers were nerfed to a point where it was not necessarily that reasonable to use them over other civilizations that had some better unit compositions. But now that Cav Archers are strong once again, Huns are going to be more and more popular on Arabia. Looking at Vilase's base real quick over here, he's got an okay-ish looking base. Beautiful gold at the back, and the berries are nice as well. Wood lines are okay-ish, but if Villese goes for this wood line, that's actually gonna be really unlucky. I'm not sure why he actually decided by this wood line, to be honest. This seems like a much better wood line overall for Villese. Both of them are on the front, which is not ideal, but this feels like a kind of wacky and weird wood line here for Villese. Not necessarily a fan of that. His stone is kind of exposed, but that's not necessarily a big issue, but his left is kind of open, and remember, he cannot place houses to start house walling himself, so if he wants to wall, then he needs to go for long walls here. Other side, looking at LaN, he is gonna have a nice wood line at the back, stone at the back is nice as well, but this gold is not necessarily amazing, and the berries are also kind of out in the open here. Not necessarily a fan of either bases, to be honest, from the players. Looks like we're gonna have Villese just pushing in the air here. Since LaN is Franks and he's likely going to open scouts, I would say that Villese could think about a Man-at-Arms opening here, and if he pushes in so many deer, it could be an easy 21 pop Man-at-Arms build to catch LaN off guard. LaN is also focusing on pushing deer right now, and he is doing so quite successfully. So many people underappreciate how good LaN can be if he plays his best. As I said, he has been extremely inconsistent recently, but I have seen LaN playing insanely good. I did refer to Hidden Cup 3 Hera versus LaN, where we didn't even know it was LaN at that time. I remember that many people were thinking that it was Hera who actually left in the first round, because he was playing so well and so Hera-like, but no, it was actually Hera defeating LaN over here, and apparently a bit of a rust showing here for him as he got housed, and he had to drop an otherwise awful house because this is gonna block some farming space. This is not a good house here for LaN. That's just probably rust showing there for a red player. He's free on wood, so indeed that's gonna be a scout's play. Villese is also free on wood, so scouts mirrors it is, apparently. Here comes the second board for our red player, and technically this villager is isolated, and I think Villese is going for it. Villese was thinking about trying to isolate this villain and picking it off. LaN reacted nicely with a quick wall. One of the things that you have to know about LaN is that he's a very fast player, so he's got some super fast quick walls, he's got great macro as well. As I said, I think the biggest thing that hindered him was being able to play at like consistent internet, and like even if the internet is not always affecting you, and as I said, I'm not necessarily a big fan of completely hiding behind the technical difficulties when it comes to underperforming. I feel like from what I've seen from him and from what I heard, it very much seems like it affected him very heavily. So let's hope that that gets figured out, because if LaN gets to a strong point, or like a strong internet, and he can finally play to his best skills, he's gonna be a very dangerous player. And I would love to see that happen, because then Heresy would become a very strong team as well. He's the teammate of Miguel and Dogao in Heresy. So in team game tournaments, a strong LaN would suddenly make Heresy probably a top 4 contender, because you would still have GL, you would still have Tempo/AM, WWP Suomi, but a strong LaN would make Heresy a very strong contender for a top 4 spot as well. Anyways, Villese is going 20 pop scouts, same idea here for LaN. Very open gameplay from both players. Barracks now coming in here for Villese, and the stable is going to be right next to it. So as things stand, it looks like we're just going to have good old-fashioned scouts war, which technically favors the Frankish player right now. But keep in mind that Villese has all the tools in the world to switch into Cav Archers once getting to Castle Age, and that could be a massive thing. Eventually, I kind of like how Villese end up preemptively walling his berry villagers. Not something that's needed right now, but it definitely gives him some safety in case there would be a surprise rush coming from his opponent, which apparently is not happening. So, Field Age is in, you gotta stable up, and we gotta stable up as well on the other side. Perfectly identical builds for the two players, 1 second TC idle time for both. So now the Frankish scouts will start become better and better in combat with the 54 HP compared to 45, but it only lasts until the Hunnic player decides to go for Bloodlines. So if we see extended Feudal Age with a lot of scouts, then Bloodlines will become a thing for Villese, and then suddenly those Frankish scouts will start struggling a lot more. Spears are out for both players, as Villese starts walling off the left side of his base. LaN also goes for the walls, and these are some ugly, ugly walls here. I honestly feel like he should have just gone for this wall over here and then wall to the edge. This actually is more effort than walling to the edge here and then just taking one villager and walling this off. It would also give him a lot more freedom and defense at the back of his base. But it looks like LaN kind of saw that, hey, there is scouts coming, and I kind of consider this a bit of a panic walls, to be honest, because he wasn't really walling in Dark Age at all, and then suddenly, when the scouts start popping out, he suddenly starts placing these super, super long walls and building them with like 4 or 5 vills at the same time. Villese also walling the right side of his base, long palisade walls coming from both sides over here, as Villese has a lot of TC idle time. Not sure what happened there, but that's -1 villager. That is very, very sloppy from Villese there. He's behind by 1 vill because 30 seconds TC idle time is actually more than a villager's worth. So that was really sloppy there for Villese. He was probably microing his scouts and building his walls, but that is a massive, massive deficit to overcome. Looking at both players, they have Bitaxe and Horsecolor as well, as we are going to have LaN finishing the walls. Looks like LaN is playing a little passive, which could backfire, because if you allow Huns to sit behind their walls, as Villese is also playing defensive, they can just switch into Cav Archers, as I said, and then suddenly the Franks will start to have problems. So I feel like LaN still needs to play pretty aggressive in this one. Now he's fully walled, so he's moving out. Villese is not walled entirely, as he's trying to keep his scouts around and the spearmen as well, to make sure that this hole isn't going to cause problems for him. But it might. This might cause problems. Only one spearman, and there's multiple spears coming in here from LaN as well, and that is going to scare away Villese for the time being. Boom. An opening on Villese's walls. This is why being unable to go for house walls hurts, because it means that you have to make so much longer palisade walls. This would have been a long palisade anyways, but if you had houses, you could have started walling this in Dark Age already with those, so you would have saved some time in Feudal. I don't think that LaN is going to be able to accomplish much with his scouts, but he's definitely causing a bit of a chaos inside of Villese's eco, and that's the type of a thing that you're trying to accomplish over here. It looks like the wall is going down here. That is a massive, massive thing here. Once again, for LaN, he's going to be able to engage the vills, and once again, Villese feels like he's a little off here. Maybe it's the first game for him today or something like that, or he hasn't been warmed up properly. LaN's scout control here is also kind of underwhelming, I would say. Most of those scouts were just chilling there, and now he ends up losing all those scouts. So I'm not saying that LaN has gotten the most out of this one, but truth being told, he has to be happy with the fact that he managed to pick off 3 vills, even 4 vills here. And if you add it to the fact that Villese has had some TC idle time as well, and now Villese is running into the spearman here, I would say that LaN has to be happy with that. Villese is switching into archers here, but if it's only foot archers, I think what LaN has to work towards is going up to Castle Age, going for double stable knights, and he's gonna be all good to go, because I don't think that Villese can do that much damage with these scouts and the archers. He will try to, and just try to prevent his opponent from, you know, walling behind or repairing the walls with the archers, but realistically speaking, I think you see that LaN is clicking up to Castle Age. LaN has had an excellent start here, actually. And now, worst case scenario I would say for LaN is that he makes a couple more scouts while going up to Castle Age, so that he can actually match the numbers of Villese. Villese has no upgrades on those scouts right now. LaN's got none either, but I think he's about to get scale botting because he already clicked up. So it's scale botting and gold mining time. He only has 6 on gold, which is a little low. But other than that, he's gonna be all good. Indeed, here comes gold mining, followed by scale botting overall. How come only 2 villager difference with 4-0 KD? Wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrow accounts for 3 villagers. And also keep in mind that LaN is going up already, which means that he's not making villas right now and Villese does. So that is the reason why this villager discrepancy feels awkward, that Villese has a 1 villager lead. Realistically, that's actually 4 villagers lead for LaN. In fact, it's 4.5 because Villese has a lot of TC idle time here as well. So you see, that's also 18 seconds of TC idle time difference, which is like almost a villager. So when both players get to Castlage and when both players get Wheelbarrow, it would be a 5 villager difference by now, which is pretty enormous. Nice revos here by LaN, reacting nicely to the scout's aggression so far. There is a hole here in between the house and the mill, and that's not something that LaN may have spotted. Does he see it? Okay, now he's gonna realize. He probably realized it just because Villese was attacking this part of the wall. There is no point for Villese to attack this part if this is logged, or so. Anyways, Castlage is in, which means that double stable knights are coming in for LaN, and this is his opportunity to destroy this group of archers, which would be a nice find as well. Looks like Villese is just pumping out some more archers, so he'll probably go for crossbowmen first and not straight cav archers. LaN, on the other hand, now has some TC idle time as well, as he's struggling a little bit to afford the knights and the upgrades at the same time. He's also pretty low on wood, so he can't really make additional town centers. This wasn't the perfect build from LaN over here, but he is still definitely ahead of Villese, and chances are he's about to bump into the archers of Villese here. Villese, oh look at that, that was super smart from Villese. He saw the knights coming this way, so he's moving left with the archers. He didn't want to let those archers get killed by the knights. That was very smart of Villese over there. Some more knights are coming in, and we are going to see a good old-fashioned triple range cav archers from our Hunnic player. Only 7 archers, so it looks like Villese is not even going to bother upgrading them to crossbows right now. Botkin Arrow will be coming in here for him as well. He should go for a university for ballistics in this case, because for triple range plays you can't afford 2 TC will production, so you gotta go for fast ballistics in this one. Second TC coming in for LaN, and as I said, now clock is ticking for LaN, because if Villese gets to a huge amount of cav archers, LaN has no answer to that. And this is why LaN has to get a forward siege workshop around this area and start pushing Villese's base with scorpions and knights before the cav archer numbers grow up. If they actually get to like 20-25 cav archers with ballistics and potentially even Thumbring, then LaN is gonna be in serious trouble. He needs to sort of overrun Villese with knights before that would actually happen. Villese actually has the crossbows coming in here. That's a beautiful move. He managed to save them. He ended up upgrading them to crossbows as well. But they don't have ballistics, so they're not actually doing a lot of damage. And you see that. This is why fast ballistics can be so helpful. With ballistics, this would have been 3 villagers dead. Without, it's none. Now, this is the other reason why I said it would have been better to just wall here to this gold and then to the edge of the map from this gold, because guess what? Then the back of your wood lines would be safe. Now it's wide open for crossbow raids and later on cav archer raids, which is even more painful. I seriously feel like LaN needs to do a little bit better job protecting the back of his wood lines, because those cav archers will tear him apart if he doesn't do it, as he's gonna bump into the crossbows right now. Still, the Frankish Night Flood is something that you have to be careful about, especially if you leave the gate open like that. Disaster for Villese. Disaster. He's gonna have to try to go for the quick walls. They will actually happen, and suddenly a disaster could turn into something pretty nice here for Villese if he actually manages to go hit and run and take down some of those knights. The knights will take an okay engagement though, keep that in mind. They will take down quite a few cav archers, and Villese's eco behind this one is not something that's super shiny. Plus the fact that the cav archers are back at home allows LaN to come forward and drop a siege workshop here. It would ideally be on a hill, but this spot could also be reasonable, because you could deny a gold mine with that. Now, the cav archers will start moving out as the knights come back over here. Villese must not see this Siege Workshop, because if he spots it, he's gonna dive in, snipe the Vil, and then disengage. Looks like he's not going to commit to that, and now that he sees the Knights, he's just gonna run away. LaN doesn't need to fight this, and he shouldn't even fight this one. He just needs to make sure that that Siege Workshop goes up, and then press on with Scorpions. He shouldn't throw away his Knights like he did with the previous ones. Once again, bit wasteful, I believe, here from LaN. He could have just kept those Knights out and wait for the Scorpions to arrive. Because when the Scorpions arrive, suddenly those Cav Archers will have a much, much harder time. Behind this one, there is 3 TCs for Villese, but he only has 9 on food, so making all 3 of those work is next to impossible for Villese over here, as he's looping around with the Cav Archers. Will once again try to hit the back of the wood line here for LaN, something that he needs to address. I really think that he needs to start walling himself off, and the best defense against Cav Archers is usually stone walls, or house walls also work. Every time you see a player being very successful against a Cav Archer opponent, it comes from the fact that the Cav Archers can't actually get any raiding damage done. And that can be achieved by, as I said, house walling this, or stone walling this. So, here come the Scorpions, now with the Knights trying to bash through the stable. There is a Knight coming for Villese, so we'll try to pop it out, take down the Scorpions, and then, oh, indeed, here it comes. Knight pops out, one Scorpion goes down, the other one does not. And this is the reason why LaN is targeting that stable. Here comes the Cav Archer though. LaN has to go for a quick wall, and that is not a good quick wall. That was an overchop on the wood line, and I think LaN starts to pay the price for the walls that he has done in Feudal. There would have been much more reasonable walls, and he didn't go for them. Ends up paying the price for that pretty heavily over here. The reason why LaN is targeting that stable is because he knows exactly that Knights popping out could be devastating against his Scorpions, and Villese is waiting for the opportunity. Look at this. He's trying to lure that Scorpion close to the walls with the Cav Archers, and then pop out the Knight to jump on the Scorpion, as the Cav Archers still keep raiding. Pretty massive eco advantage for LaN over here, but he needs to protect the back of his wood lines, otherwise he's gonna be in trouble as a battering ram pops out. The battering ram is a good choice here, I would say, because the Knights will take some time until they actually can finish it off, and the Cav Archers alone can't take it down either. Once again, the Knights pop out as they snipe down the Scorpion. Villese is doing this one really well. Look at this. Dives in and takes down the 2 Scorpions. What's interesting is that LaN isn't committing against that stable now with the battering ram, something that he could have easily done. He's waiting for more Scorpions, apparently, as the Cav Archers dive in, pick off a couple more Vils. Ever since the 4 initial Vil picks by LaN, he wasn't able to kill a single villager, and Villese is now coming in with more and more Vil kills. Still, the Cav Archers won't be able to deal with that battering ram fast enough, and that stable is now going down quite rapidly. There is an overchop on the wood line as well. There's a pretty massive overchop, in fact. Now the ram is down, and I think that LaN could do a lot of things, but whatever he's doing, he's gonna have to either commit against that stable now, as once again a Knight comes in to try and snipe the Scorpions. This time around, it's going to be unsuccessful at killing both, just takes down one. But LaN could have either sent in a Knight here as well. He didn't even have to break through these walls, because there is definitely an overchop here. Siege Workshop now coming in here for Villese. He starts to feel the pressure, as LaN desperately needs to take that stable down, and this is the moment where I think LaN realizes that there must be an overchop here, because otherwise this villager wouldn't be here. Bit sloppy that he kind of threw away those Scorpions though. I feel like LaN isn't necessarily using his army to its best effect. Remember that behind this one he's still being harassed by Cav Archers. He's sending Knights to deal with that, and now with 400 stone in the bank, I think that the next step for LaN would be castle dropping this area. Dropping a castle here would give him a huge amount of map control, limit the movement of Villese over here, as Villese is going to lose quite a few Cav Archers over here, and it would deny gold mine, which is even bigger. The big horde of Cav Archers move out for Villese, and this is a bit of a gamble here, because Villese's base is wide open. Imagine if you had stone walls here for LaN. That would be a game-winning move right now, because these Cav Archers would not be able to do anything, and in the moment you spot the CA, you can send your Knights into Villese's base and just destroy his eco. This is a bit of a gamble here from Villese, because if those Cav Archers can't get any damage done, or if they can just do limited damage, then indeed a castle drop could be devastating by LaN. Here come the Cav Archers, they pick off a couple of Vils. By the way, Villese is still without ballistics, which is super awkward. He is without ballistics. I understand lack of tumbling, but lack of ballistics is a little bit puzzling. He's got the university, but it feels like he wants to imp here. Villese wants to go Imperial Age, but he might not have the chance to do so. Both players will break into the opponent's base. The Knights rampaging Villese's eco. Villese running in the wrong way because there's a castle coming up in his face. The Cav Archers are also inside LaN's base, but while the Knights can run past the TCs and even take down TCs in good enough numbers, the Cav Archers cannot do that. Both players will have a lot of idle time, but I think that Villese is suffering from more damage than his opponent is. Villese is imping here, as he's committing fully against the eco of LaN here, but 2 TCs with almost 4 garrisons. I think for LaN, making fletching here could also make some sense, so that TCs have more damage output. The Knights are still sort of devastating Villese's eco. Both players have suffered serious casualties here, as we have 102 vills for LaN, 84 for Villese, but Villese is imping, and if Villese can afford a castle, so it is very much possible that Villese will just make a castle here and trap this one down with the Hunnic traps, and he's got a scary group of Cav Archers. Don't underestimate 32 CA with lack of ballistics right now, but if Villese finds a way to heal this one up, and he's got a couple of monks to heal Cav Archers with, then I would safely say, oh, beautiful find there for Villese as well. I think that LaN is struggling quite heavily keeping those Cav Archers in check. And this is why, as I said, his voling doesn't necessarily make a huge amount of sense. He's floating a huge amount of gold as well, but he's not far away from Imperial otherwise. The fact that his food eco was idle for quite a while is delaying his uptime quite a bit. This is Villese's MTC, which is in relative safety. I don't think it's going down over here. And now it looks like LaN is gonna commit with all the knights he has. It's 17 knights, but only a handful of Cav Archers back at home here, plus a couple of monks. The monks don't have sanctity, so it's pretty easy picks for the knights. One conversion connects, a second conversion connects as well. But now, once again, the knights have the ability to just act individually. And that is a massive difference between Cav Archers and knights. Knights are able to just run around one by one and just keep killing villagers, whereas Cav Archers have to be kept in a group. And that is a massive difference between the two unit compositions. I'm not saying that this is the best ever fight that LaN can take here, but given the fact that Villese is up to Imperial and he's grabbing Thumbring for his Cav Archers plus popping out traps soon, I think that this is probably the best thing that LaN can do. Just dive in, try to damage Villese's economy and delay his upgrades. That's probably the best thing you can do. LaN is buying an awful lot of stone here. He has bought so much. This is almost 2 castles worth. If one defensive castle comes up here, it would have been probably better, maybe even on this hill, because that would have been a very nice hill to control this side. And then maybe stonewall this would actually make some sense as well. Bracer as well for Villese, and this is starting to raise questions about whether or not Villese has forgotten about ballistics. Because he's grabbing Thumbring, he's grabbing Bracer, but he doesn't have ballistics, and that makes limited sense, I would say. He can't afford ballistics right now, but he could have done it before, as the Cav Archers find the vills on the castle, and that castle proves to be very late. Villese, on the other hand, breaking out of his base, dropping a castle in this crucial hill in the middle of the battlefield. LaN's army is almost non-existent right now, by the way. He has 8 knights only, as his castle is being trapped down, more stables being added. I feel like he let the Cav Archer numbers grow too high. I did mention that Franks, after the Huns get the Cav Archer upgrade, they just can't do much against Huns here. Chemistry even coming in here for Villese, who is really struggling for wood. He only has 7 vills on wood. That may be the reason why he doesn't have ballistics, but still, I kind of feel like he just forgot about it, because he had the wood for it in Castle Age, and ballistics for Cav Archers is such an important upgrade. Thumbring as well, but, I mean, without ballistics, especially if you go for free-range Cav Archers, I think that's a must-have. And if you consider the fact that he had a university for a long time, I think he just forgot about it. Now, LaN is massing knights here, and if he pops the Cavalier with +4 defense, that could be massive. Remember that without ballistics, those Cav Archers will still be somewhat underwhelming against those knights, or soon-to-be Cavalier. There is 2 conversions as well for LaN. That is a nice move as well, and here it comes. They don't have their upgrades just yet, so this is a fight that Villese might actually try to take. It looks like he's gonna fall back to his castle. But it's sort of starting to become a now or never situation for LaN over here. He needs to get the Cavalier and overrun Villese before Villese can actually get to good Cav Archer numbers. He also needs to get this defensive castle up here, as he's losing his forward castle. He gets a trap out, which is still a nice thing, so he can actually counter-trap this and keep denying gold mines. Something that could be part of LaN's game plan. He can try to deny this gold, and he can also try to deny this gold. So Villese could easily be starved out of gold as LaN is moving to the north to secure a neutral gold mine over here. Iron casting coming in as well for those Cavalier. That is a scary force of Cavalier, and remember, these Cav Archers don't have ballistics, they're just now grabbing it. And they don't have heavy CA upgrade either. So it's not like they're that well upgraded, and it looks like the Cavalier will just dive in and pretty much just try to annihilate the economy of Villese. Villese is now going for party and tactics as well. As it looks like, look at this Cav Archer. There is an imposter among us. That is what the Cavaliers would say. Villese trying to quick gate his opponent in here. That's gonna be successful. I think LaN should take this fight, honestly. He sees there is no heavy CA, there is no party and tactics on these. Not even, like, no +4 defense, basically. So this is a fight that he could technically take. Tries to get a good surround, and he actually gets one. And behind this one, he can start trapping this castle down. He's trapping up hills, which is going to take some time. But using this push here, remember, you have to keep the Cav Archers together. He can distract the entire army of Villese here. And that allows him to push the middle. And... oh, a misclick! This has to be a misclick. Villese is sending the villagers to repair the castle, but they are attacking a building that's behind the castle. You saw the animations, those weren't repairing. Those villagers were attacking something. I think there's a building behind the castle here, but I am fairly certain Villese want to repair this otherwise crucial castle that protects his gold here. And if you consider that this gold is also wide open, you're starting to feel like that's a disaster for Villese overall. As now the light cav start overrunning these Cav Archers. Villese just can't keep his Cav Archer numbers high, and that's exactly how you have to play against Cav Archer play. Just flood them with units before they can actually get their Cav Archer numbers high and steady. Now Villese has a scary force though, but the castle is down, and as I said, the Cav Archers need to be kept in one group. So what LaN needs to work towards now is using smaller groups of light cav / Cavalier and just keep raiding, because, as I said, Cavalier can act individually, unlike Cav Archers can. LaN 152 wills, slight overboom maybe, but if you consider the fact that he's going Cavalier pretty heavily, then it might not be that big of an overboom. And he's also flooding quite a lot of his side, considering that he's working with a pretty inefficient fights, I would say, or sort of high death rate, so to say, against those Cav Archers. It might make sense for him to have 150 wills, because he needs to flood that group of light cavalry. Looks like Villese is moving to the left over here. This is a castle that could be stopped by LaN if he spots it. And I think he did. He spotted the castle attempt here, and there is going to be enough Cavalier to stop this castle. Meanwhile, this would mean that Villese is going to start struggling for gold. He doesn't have any space on the right side, and this is the neutral gold that he's probably looking for. Villese currently has 10 villagers on gold, as if you look at here on the south, he doesn't know about this neutral gold, this one is running out, and he lost the one on the front. LaN immediately takes control over that, neither of the players having a relic, as LaN wants to break into the base of Villese here while using these cavalry units as a diversion. These quick pulls will be successful here by Villese, but there is more coming, and this is a prime spot to hit at Villese's economy, despite the castle's presence here. But it looks like they will go straight into the base of Villese, some of them to the right. That's exactly how you gotta play that, because Villese has to keep all his Cav Archers together, and you see that he can only send them at one place at a time. And while that is happening, villagers will start going down. Even if not all of them die, it's 50 idols for Villese right now, and that's exactly the type of scenario that LaN wants for himself. Now, Hunting traps are more accurate, so this is why you see that LaN has trouble dealing with those traps over there. Don't ask me why LaN is flooding light cavalry when he's floating 1300 gold and he's got 29 on gold as well. As he's gonna keep these guys around, just make sure that he can actually come back later, get some more damage done. I think that LaN needs to go for more Cavalier here. he has gotten Botkin Arrow. That makes me wonder if we're going to see Elite Skirms. Because, well, Frankish Elite Skirms are very underwhelming. They're missing Bracer, and we are missing Ring Archer Armor as well for them. The thing is that at this point, Skirmishers could be a solution as well, because they would be gold efficient against the opponent. Chivalry coming in here for LaN, an upgrade that used to be seen a lot in Frankish games, but it was a Castle Age upgrade back then. Now it's an Imperial Age upgrade. I'm not sure if the price increased or not, but one thing is sure, he spent a lot of resources on an otherwise somewhat unnecessary upgrade, I would say. Because Chivalry is meant to increase your production speed of cavalry, but realistically speaking, I think, in a scenario where gold is so precious, I think you're better off just making 5 more stables and just having the same production without Chivalry. I feel like that is probably a lot more gold efficient, because I feel like every bit of gold that LaN has, he should invest it into Cavalier and then have some sort of support unit. Like Light Cavs are good for raiding over here, Skirmishers maybe, to just try to decrease those Cav Archer numbers now a little bit, because now those are heavy CA, and one thing to keep in mind is that Vilese's efficiency when it comes to taking fights is much better than LaN's one. Those Cav Archers retain their value so well, and despite the fact that LaN has like 60% map control, if not more, and he's the one raiding Vilese's eco, he just can't land the finishing blow. Neither of the players are in possession of relics right now, as now the Light Cav comes in here, 77 Veils on food here for LaN. And remember, Cav Archers need to be kept together, and indeed, Villese is now out of gold. Villese doesn't have this gold mine over here, and he didn't find that one. If he found that, that would be probably his, and that would actually make life much easier for him. But I love how LaN is keeping some Light Cav over there, just to make sure Villese doesn't have an easy time grabbing that. He has to send some soldiers to secure that place as well. It's all about starving Villese out of gold. Behind this one, I also love how LaN is taking the gold of Villese. Every bit of gold you can grab, you gotta grab it. On the other hand, I kinda dislike how neither of the players are picking up relics over here. Which trash is better, French or Hunnic? Hunnic by a massive margin. Huns have SR, Huns have almost fully upgraded Elite Skirm. They're missing Ring Archer Armor, but they have Bracer for their Elite Skirm. Whereas Franks don't even have Bracer for that. Franks don't have SR. Hunnic trash units are much better in the long run. So, as things stand, it looks like LaN is just trying to play full Hera style. I did mention before the set that in Hidden Cup 3 he had a very Hera-esque playstyle, so really he's got that same attitude when it comes to just using infinite waves of light cavalry to destroy the opponent's eco. And let's be honest, if this castle goes down, then this right side is gonna get breached. Villese starts to realize that the only way he's gonna actually survive this is if he starts stonewalling himself and prevent those raids from happening, but that doesn't seem like that's gonna be the case, and I slowly see Vilese's eco collapsing under the pressure. This is a LaN that said that he's not feeling well today, so we don't know if he's playing 100%, but I did mention that this guy has a huge amount of potential. One of the biggest under-the-radar players of, like, recent memory, I would say. He didn't play perfect in this game, there were some wacky decisions, but I must say that he's beating a very strong Villese, as now Villese is down to 75 Veils, taking into Halberdier, but that just feels a little too late, and remember, oh, there is Paladin even. I don't... Now that's a bad decision. Come on, LaN, you're out of gold, man. He's out of gold and he's taking into Paladin. This is the things where I'm saying that, okay, LaN needs some improvement here. Because he's doing the right things, but some of his decisions are more than puzzling. Why on the earth you would tech into Paladin when you have no gold? Sure enough, you have 16 Cavalier on the field, but I feel like it's not necessarily something that justifies a super expensive upgrade like Paladin. As LaN is gonna take game number 1, Villese steps out. I think it was a slight civilization advantage for Villese. LaN didn't play it perfectly because he kind of allowed Villese to grow up in Cav Archer numbers. I kind of disliked how he walled his base and allowed Villese to just keep raiding with Cav Archers. But after that, his imp pressure and the rates that he has done were very, very good. And in general, as I said, um, I think that LaN has utilized his light cav raids a lot, and he has a very Hera-esque playstyle to play with. And this is one of the reasons why Hera's playstyle is so devastating. It's insanely hard to keep your eco alive against waves after waves of light cavalry. So, yeah, exactly. This actually came down to the fact that cav archers need to be kept together. And, like, you cannot send 15 cav archers to clean up 15 cavalier. You have to keep your entire group of cav archers together. You also have to micro them a lot more. That's a big thing as well. You have to babysit cav archers, hit and run, because if the cavaliers close the distance, they will just steamroll the cav archers. You have to constantly micro your cav archers, hit run, and yeah. In the meanwhile, you can send in cavalier, and they can just keep killing villagers. You don't even have to look at there; they will just do their thing, and you can focus on other things. Part of this one was that Villese was sort of unlucky, slash, he didn't actually just find this gold, something that he could have found. And if he finds this gold, this would have been a very different game because he could have been able to add a lot more cav archers than he was able to. Would it have been enough to win this game? Doubtful, because he would have lost his entire eco anyways, right? So I'm not sure if this gold would have been enough for Villese to turn this one around, but it would definitely have contributed at least a tiny bit. But LaN takes game number one over here, a bit of a surprise, I would say. I'm not saying it's an absolute shocker by any means, but it is definitely a good sign for LaN, who defeated Jordan 3-2 in the first round of the tournament. Then he was set to play against Viper, but Viper's wrist issues forced him to forfeit from this tournament, so LaN advanced into the quarterfinals. But so far, I'm impressed by how well he's playing. I haven't seen him play for a long time, and this one was a pretty convincing win for him, although it wasn't entirely perfect, as I mentioned. So Villese is going to lose Hans over here, and the Franks will be gone for LaN. We're gonna go into game number 2, and that is Valley. So the first home map of Villese over here, 45 seconds remaining from the spec countdown, as we're gonna have Aztecs and Britons. Interesting combination of civilizations. So Valley is not a map where I anticipated either of these civs to be picked. In fact, I thought Britons will go for Golden Swamp. I was fairly certain about that. Aztecs, it was a bit of a puzzling choice for me, because initially I thought Huns will go for one of the other maps, like for example Valley, and then you're gonna use Aztecs on Arabia. Looks like Vilas has a different plan. He's gonna go for his power civ, a civilization that can be pretty devastating against Britons, because sure enough, the Britons have their champions to deal with, the Eagle Warriors, but if you consider the fact that you need mobility, I just like Aztecs a lot more here, as I welcome you to game number 2 here. Welcome to Valley. Vilas is going to play blue Aztecs on the right. Left side, it is going to be LaN in red as Britons. We do have quite a bit of snow over here, and now you see how Valley looks like. You have a bunch of hunt in the middle, and also some shorefish. The players' starting bases are generally pretty well volable. That's not necessarily the case for Villese over here, as his berries are quite open, but in general the bases are fairly well defendable. So fast castles are often a thing on this map, especially because nowadays people are just not motivated to move to the middle for the hunt. Back in the days when I started casting, everybody moved to the middle and it was like big militia and men-at-arms fights, as we got CJ the Pet Guy. Thank you so much for the 4 months of Prime sub. I appreciate it. Welcome back. So, yeah, back in the days, people actually moved to the middle and took the huntables. There were a lot of militias fighting, men-at-arms, whatever you can imagine. But then people started realizing that, hey, it's too risky to move into the middle. And guess what? That is what we're seeing nowadays. Barely anyone moving to the middle. Do you think that the meta has gotten too defensive? Hard to say. I would say that it's pretty easy to scout if your opponent is going to the middle. And it's probably safer. Like, if I see my opponent is going to the middle, I'm gonna go man-at-arms or scouts, and I'm gonna kill his villagers. There's too big of a risk involved in going to the middle, getting the hunt. There is definitely a pretty enormous benefit, but I just feel like the risk is too big. You risk losing an entire game. If you lose 4 villas there, no matter how much food you gathered, you're going to have your issues after that. It looks like LaN is going to push deer from the middle, because one thing to consider is that you don't have actual pushable deer close to your base. So the only way that you get these extra huntables is if you push it in from the middle, but I like how he's doing that. That's a nice thing for him. He's got a pretty easy deer push, by the way, no elevation, no wacky forests in the way, so it's a pretty easy one, but still, nice thing to have. Overall, I kind of like LaN's base a little bit better here. Fairly straightforward walls are possible, easy deer push as well. So there's a lot to love about the map of LaN over here. So, we're gonna have 4 on wood for Villese over here, no surprise about that one. 4 on wood as well for LaN, as Villese is gonna eat a lot of damage from the TC. That is definitely unfortunate, I would say. So, the barracks will be scouted by Villese, which is an extremely important thing here right now. He knows that there is going to be a premium rush coming in, and with Britons and some deer push that we have seen from LaN, I'm tempted to believe that we could see a Drushfast castle with Britons here. The map is defendable enough for that, and you could carve out a nice little lead with crossbowmen, especially if your opponent is going for straight archers or man-at-arms archers. In this one, you see that Villese has spotted the barracks, so he's gonna immediately wall in his villagers just to ensure that they won't get picked off by the militias, as he's just gonna keep track of that group of militias in here. It looks like he might even try to fight that, just land 1 or 2 hits before the militias can actually group up. LaN just now coming for the berries so far, not a huge amount of walling, and it looks like as much as Villese had a disaster running into a TC of the opponent, he is able to get away. LaN wasn't that lucky. LaN is gonna lose his scout here, which is gonna hurt pretty badly, because that scout could have been helpful at aiding this rush, or maybe pushing in some more deer, or just generally checking out what Villese is up to. So here comes the rush. The barracks is coming in here for Villese as well. Feels like a man-at-arms-ish barracks timing, and despite what it may seem like, there is no hole here. It looks a little bit awkward or wacky, but it's actually walled in villagers over there. It's hard to spot. So, as things stand, LaN is adding farms, and his rush has not accomplished much so far. Small wall over here by Villese that should prevent the militias from getting to the wood line. Nice reaction from our blue player to that, and there is Villese moving out with the villagers, so I guess we're getting that answer. If LaN is drushing, and if LaN's militias are here, remember LaN has lost his scout, so Villese could easily move out here, mill the huntables, and get a nice low food boost from that. And if LaN had his scout, I don't think that Villese should do this, but without LaN's scout, you can actually risk it. Because, guess what? LaN is going to struggle spotting that. It looks like there is going to be... That's probably aimed to be men-at-arms eventually from Villese, but he's going to have to fight this one now that his opponent has spotted his hunting operation, and you see that LaN is just going to start laming the huntables to make sure that even if he loses this militia fight, his opponent won't be able to get as many huntables, and that is going to be a villager kill. I mean, the villager did kill the huntable. That matters quite a bit, because that means that the huntable is not going to be at 0 food, it's going to be at 140. So, we're going to have 3 militias out here, and for Villese, he is about to upgrade them to men-at-arms, although his food count seems a little low, so that immediate man-at-arms upgrade may not be a thing. Woes are up for LaN, and as I said, this is a Drushfast castle here. Seems to be pretty low on food though. This is why losing that scout hurts. Would have been better if he can push in 1 or 2 more deer. And Villese is going to react swiftly here. He realizes that this is a fast castle play here, and he's going to come in with a tower that's going to deny the berries. I did mention that LaN has considerable issues with food here for his fast castle play, so losing the berries will be a significant problem. 28 villas with only 1 deer is kinda tight, so I'm not 100% sure as the militias arrive back at home to try and delay that tower as much as possible. So I'm not really sure how LaN is gonna be able to go up the castle age here, I'm not gonna lie. I just feel like he's in quite a significant trouble. He lost his berries right now and he's at 200 food. This is gonna be a disrupted castle age, exactly what Villese wants. That is a very nice reaction from him, and that's gonna allow him to even let those men-at-arms in. LaN trying to go for the quick walls over here. Remember, these are Dark Age Palisade walls, which means they only have 150 HP. The men-at-arms chew through them very, very easily. In fact, it's even 4 men-at-arms for Villese, so he's gonna double down on this one. He won't have more towers coming in, because he is not mining stone. But as things stand, he is just very motivated to get through these walls, try to get some sort of eco damage done on LaN. He definitely disrupted this fast castle because LaN is nowhere close to clicking up, but there could be even more associated with this one, as the men-at-arms are just destroying house after house. Remember, as I said, that these palisades are super weak, and if these men-at-arms ever get into the base of LaN over here, LaN is gonna be in serious trouble. Looks like that's not gonna be the case, and now Villese is sending villas to stone. Look at this. He's making a house here to prevent the palisade from being dropped at this tile, because that could potentially trap the men-at-arms. And now that Villese is mining stone, there is gonna be a tower coming up here. Now that LaN is up to feudal, he can actually make a defensive tower, and he's actually grabbing the men-at-arms upgrade. He wants to unleash his men-at-arms on Villese's eco, but as I said, his fast castle plans are gonna be gone in a moment. LaN is gonna have to evacuate the wood line here. I think that Villese is doing quite a lot of damage here. Sure enough, Villese's eco isn't necessarily the best I've ever seen, but the men-at-arms could easily run past his TC if Villese is not looking, and Villese is not looking. Villese wasn't looking because he was microing his forces here, and the men-at-arms actually get past the TC. Sure enough, the quick walls are happening here, but that gives a chance for LaN to hit the stone mine or the gold mine of Villese over here, so Villese now has to be careful with the defending. A men-at-arms run past the TC, and speaking of running past the TC, all 4 of them will. LaN didn't react in time either, just like Villese, so both players allow the men-at-arms to get into their base, and I feel like Villese has more damage potential here than LaN does. LaN currently has 1 villager on food. Villese still has his quick walls up, whereas for LaN, he's gonna have to scramble for defense. Looks like that's gonna be a nice quick wall. So will this one be, but there is a massive difference between the 2 players, and that is 13 on food versus 3 on food. There is already archers popping out for Villese, so he's gonna take down these men-at-arms with those. Archers are also coming for LaN, as at the end, Villese will just break out of his base through these palisades. LaN is gonna try to get at least some shots on them, as an archer is coming in as well for our red player to try and hit these vills. I think that these men-at-arms will just pretty much cancel each other at the end of the day, but Villese probably has gotten a better value out of those men-at-arms than his red counterpart did. Although, hold on for a moment, because Villese is sending archers forward, and LaN is sending them over here. So there is a chance that LaN is going to be able to do some damage here with his archers. No fletching for either side. Defensive tower has to come up here for LaN, as he needs to prevent his opponent from getting through this wall and hitting the gold mine, as the men-at-arms will actually be able to damage his archer here, but unable to finish that archer off for the time being. A villager here could get killed. That would be the first villager kill of LaN in this game. Both towers are up, but currently LaN is off from gold. So it's not necessarily about the villager kills, it's more about the idle time right now, and currently the player with the more significant idle time is probably LaN, because he's the one that's off from gold, he's the one that didn't have food income for a while. Whereas for Villese, wherever you look, he still has reasonable resource income now, mixing in some skirmishers because he doesn't have the gold for archers. Fletching is coming in for both sides. And now Villese's eco is the one that's a little bit more exposed than the opponent's one here. So some idle time will be there on the wood line. Both players, very, very strained economies right now. And this is not how this map usually plays out. In fact, this is everything but the way that this map actually plays out. So now, we're gonna have LaN indeed with a better worker efficiency. That is because Villese had a rough time after he had to evacuate this gold and had to just retask everyone on this wood line. Because the worker efficiency doesn't actually spot the inefficiency of this wood line. This is a very inefficient wood line because there's a lot of villager bumping into each other. In this one, LaN is gonna have to disengage and he's gonna run away for the time being. Behind this one, by the way, Villese has huntables in the middle. Don't underestimate that. Part of the reason why Villese is ahead in terms of economy is because he doesn't have to invest in the farms. He can just take the huntables, and that's a massive benefit in this one. Being able to just take that sort of free food for yourself is pretty massive, and that's why Villese is getting ready to click up into Castle Age, whereas LaN is sort of nowhere close type of a thing. The Man-at-Arms is still trying to chase down the skirmishers in here as we'll have the archers moving out. Villese needs to be careful because if he ends up losing those vills, the advantage that he has gotten from hunting is gonna disappear pretty much. So, as things stand, the villager counts are pretty much even. Castle Age time is gonna be way better for our blue player. But as I said, LaN is gonna have the opportunity to find these vills, and I think he does know that they have to be on the left. He probably knows that there were forward villas that ran back, right? So he probably assumes that the villagers of Villese have to be around. And, oh, he saw the Ibex moving. If he spotted that, he should know there's villagers here. But look at the sneaky moves! Unbelievable. That is absolutely unbelievably unlucky for LaN. He missed those villas by a tile, and now Villese is gonna run back home with them. He was really looking for those, and it would have been 4 villager kills because these guys had nowhere to run. But they're actually going back. LaN could still find them. Oh, that's so unlucky there for LaN. So unlucky. And that is one of the things that is fueling the better Castle Age time of Villese. Now, LaN is not that much behind, so it's not the end of the world for him, as now Villese is using the Man-at-Arms to scout for the army of the opponent. This wall may not be finished by the time the archers arrive, or even if it is, there is still a hole here, so there is a chance here for LaN to do damage. Villese is gonna send his skirms back. Villese is playing double barracks now, but he is not really queuing up egos on both of those, so it's not like it's gonna be a full ego switch, and it looks like LaN won't check for the hole here. That is once again very lucky for Villese. I don't like to associate success with luck in competitive Age of Empires because the game is too complex for any of us to just say that, hey, he won because he was lucky. But if Villese wins this game, I have to say that there is going to be a fair amount of luck involved in that. Because LaN could have actually found this hole before the walls go up. LaN could have found these villas a long time ago. Neither actually happened. And it looks like LaN is going to preemptively switch into, or at least mix in a couple of knights, because he knows exactly that eagles might be coming his way. The reality is that there is no eagles. There's mostly just elite skirms. So the knight's play could work out even better here for our red player. LaN has a decent amount of crossbows, so a count of 20 is nothing to be ashamed of, as Castle Age is almost in as well for him. Elite skirms have already finished for Villese here, as he's stacking into Eagle Warrior. Obviously, Eagle Warrior is something that's going to cause a lot more problems for LaN than Elite Skirms will, as the fight is going to happen here. The Eagle Warriors don't have good upgrades right now, not even +1 defense, so they will still die to the archers, and now it's crossbowmen with Botkin Arrow. Soon Knights are popping out as well. Villese will probably start adding a monastery. Indeed, here it comes for a monk, because he sees that, hey, there is knights coming, might as well add the monastery. In this one, second TC on the way for both players, and this is where the brilliant power of being able to afford cheap TCs helps quite a lot. Knight will jump on the skirms, will get a couple of picks, and now he has to retreat to avoid getting converted. The eagle gets picked off, and these villas are still in here, by the way, as these crossbows might eventually bump into them. I'm not sure if that's going to be a thing. Right now, LaN is trying to pick off that monk so that the knight can actually get an engagement done. So far it was unsuccessful, but with Britain crossbows it is something that could be a thing soon, because remember, those have 8 range and monks have 9. Indeed, now they can dive in. Not sure if this is a good enough fight here for LaN, but it looks like he will still take it regardless. The Eagles don't have +2 defense, so I think... Oh, there was another monk here on the hill that I don't think that LaN has spotted, and that's the reason why he lost the knight there. The knight only has +1 defense, so it's not like it's going to be super tanky against the crossbows, though. The crossbows here are just big chilling, and it looks like Villese can just continue that completely untouched hunting operation for a little longer, as it looks like LaN is now diving in. He needs to snap that monk, and that's exactly what he's going for. Another monk has just popped out, and I think LaN knows that that monk has a lot of faith on it. Not necessarily a fan of overcommitting to this fight here, though, for LaN. I think this is a bit of an overcommitment. There is quite a lot of elite skirms in, and now those eagles are appearing in numbers, so I kind of feel like this was a bit of an overcommitment here from LaN. I don't think that he had to dive into this one. I'm gonna scream about these wheels. So ridiculous that they can get away with this. Alright, so now those crossbows have been cleaned up. LaN is down to merely 9 crossbows and 2 knights. I wouldn't call his army impressive by any means. I think he would have been better off with mangonels against the elite skirms maybe, but it's hard to say because the eagles could just dive in and snipe them, and maybe LaN have spotted those wheels now on the left side because he was very close to them over there, as now I think Villese knows that, okay, it's too risky, I'm gonna fall back. Foraging coming in for LaN for his knight. It looks like he's not going to get ballistics for his eagles. He's just gonna stick with knights, 2 TCs as well. Villese is already making the 3rd town center, so the ecos will soon start showing a discrepancy. Boso as well on the way for our red player. Sanctity and chainmail armor on the way for Villese though, and this is where Aztecs start becoming powerful. Once you get that big mass of eagles out, supported by like 50-55 HP monks, that's where these guys actually start becoming scary. And this is why Britons are going to struggle quite badly against the opponent, if the opponent is Aztecs, because Aztecs have very, very good responses to Britons. A fresh one, thank you so much for 3 months of resub, I appreciate it a lot, welcome back. As here comes the big fight, that is 0 conversions so far. As lucky as Villese got with the villagers not being discovered previously, this one was an extremely unlucky fight for him. 0 conversions if I'm not mistaken, and those monks were converting for quite a long time. This is one of the reasons why LaN is able to clean this one up here, but that was very awkward looking. That was some super long conversions, what, like 5, 6, 7 seconds and no conversions whatsoever. And like those monks were even tanky, so it's not like they just got picked off immediately. Those had 50 HP, so the crossbows had to shoot at them for quite a while. That was horrendously unlucky for our blue player here. Eco's still pretty close, as a third TC is coming up for LaN. At some point, he's gonna have to clean this one up, and remember that Villese is slowly taking away this gold from his opponent, something that's gonna hurt in the long run, as the Eagles are still not present in huge numbers, which means that the crossbows actually can deal with them to an extent. Now Villese is going to go for barracks Eagles, and I think this is the moment where you probably want to switch to longswords if you're Britons, because knights are, I guess, okay, but they won't have bloodlines. You don't really want to continue going for knights with Britons. And considering that most of the fighting is happening here around this icy area, you don't need that much mobility, so you could get away with longswords, as Fresh One is going to give 5 subs to the community. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, thank you. So, as things stand, we are gonna have knights still from LaN. He decides to go for ballistics now, as he's getting ready to drop a castle. Now, a castle could be placed at multiple places. This one would be the most conservative. Delete the palisades, get a castle up, clean up those towers, secure the front of your base. But considering the fighting is happening here, I can see a castle coming up here as well to prevent those eagles from overrunning you. Here come the eagles. Nice micro so far from LaN. He just needs to make sure that the eagles can get a good surround, and that's exactly what just now happened. That is beautiful micro there from Villese, and this time around he should get a couple of conversions, or not. This is why I think that longswords would have been slightly better. Longswords are a little bit more resource efficient, so losing one or two of them to conversions is less problematic, and it very much seems like LaN has underestimated the eagle numbers here quite severely as the eagles start flooding in. Crossbow's actually taking a nice choke point fight here, so I'm really unsure if this is going to do much here for Villese, and it may soon turn out to be an overcommitment, in fact, just losing all his army for little gain. And the crossbows could pop out here and pick off those monks. I think this is actually an overcommitment here by Villese. He didn't kill basically any vills, and he just lost his entire army of eagles. That was a massive, massive amount of units that he just lost. Still, he's the one applying pressure to the opponent here, and it looks like the crossbows are going for a location when the push is happening. That was a little awkward, and I may have just jinxed LaN, as now the eagles start putting up a lot of pressure on him. He's got the stone to make a castle now, but he needs to clean this thing up first, and that's going to take some time. I think he wants to pop out with the crossbows and pick them off, or pick off the monks real quick. That was a nice move from LaN. I sort of expected that to happen, because he was massing crossbows quietly inside the ranges, and that's probably the most reasonable thing you can do to avoid the Villese out-microing you, and that's going to be a precious, precious win in that fight, because now the knights can come out and start killing the eagles. LaN is selling quite a lot of resources, so is Villese. Both of them were thinking about Imperial Age, I believe, but it looks like LaN is just gonna cancel his plans, or at least for the time being. He has queued up a horrendous amount of vills, by the way. So 13 vills in queue, if you think about that, that's 650 food for LaN being floated. Now that is what I call a ballsy castle. I don't think that LaN has to be this desperate. He definitely feels like he's very, very desperate here to get a castle up, but that is an impossible castle to get up. He's pulling the boys. It looks like he feels that he cannot actually win this game if he doesn't get a nice forward position, and he might honestly be right, because he's not in Imperial, and his opponents will soon be, but it's doubtful that you can actually get a castle up around this area. If you get it up, it's going to be great, because it's going to start destroying the monastery, it's going to start destroying the barracks. But I think that LaN may have just annihilated all his winning chances right now. Now, it's actually a good thing that the villagers absorb some of the Eagle Warrior damage, because guess what? It's better to keep your archers alive and lose a couple of vills than to lose your archers here. And is there a chance that LaN can carve out a small victory in this fight? Doesn't seem like it. No, there is no knights, not enough knights here. And remember that Villese can reinforce the battlefield with 4 barracks eagles right now. This is not happening. And with Imperial Age coming in for Villese, the chances of LaN, I think, are evaporating. I don't know why he was insisting so much on the knights play. I'm not necessarily a big fan of longswords, but I think longswords would have been a slightly better option here. Looks like he's gonna go for it, though. He says, YOLO, he's gonna need some more knights, and I mean, he really wants a castle up on that hill, but that is impossible. I think he should settle with a castle here, because that would actually at least give him some time to recover. Force Villese to take some kind of inefficient fights, clean that one up, but this is a kamikaze castle. That is, I think, a massive throw from LaN. I'm not saying that he was leading the game by any means, but trying to get a castle up on this hill when you barely have the army to carve out any kind of forward position is just a bad decision, I believe. So, yeah, like, I mean, imagine if those villagers started making castle here by now. This castle would be up and this monastery would be down, and boom, Villese would be the tough spot. Now, Villese is stacking into elite eagles, and this is the moment where LaN is dead. He cannot do anything against elite eagles. He's, in fact, struggling to deal with standard eagles. LaN, I'm not sure if he has thrown away the game, but one thing is sure. Trying to make a castle here, it was not the decision that he had to make. So, yeah, now it's over. He has absolutely no tools of stopping elite eagles. Elite eagles would shoot through knights, they would shoot through crossbows, like, cardboard. There is no castle for Villese for Garland Wars. That's the only thing that helps for LaN here. That's the only thing that really helps. And it looks like he wants to keep playing with the Knight Flood, but I mean, these Knights have +1, +2. The Eagles have +2, +4 now, and these are elite, so these Knights will not be efficient enough for LaN to justify this flood, and you see that happening. The reason why these 4 Repulsites are happening, by the way, or why they happened, is because LaN wanted a nice choke point for himself. He's still, okay, now he's going for barracks. But this is something that should have happened long time ago, I believe. LaN has like one very, very slim chance. He needs a defensive castle, like ASAP. That is a start. Remember, he's running out of gold as well. Then he needs to use the mobility of his knights and force Villese to defend. That's his only shot here. He can't take a direct engagement. He's not even remotely close of being able to do that. And the problem with delaying your longswordsman switch is that this buys time for Villese to do his own. And you see that in the moment that Villese sees the barracks, he's switching to Arbs. Villese could easily switch to just longswords himself, because guess what? He is Aztec, so Garland Wars he should clap the Briton longswords. Or he could even go 200 swordsman, obviously, an imp. Supplies coming in as well. And guess what? Those eagles are still eating your cavalry. This is one of the reasons why I am not necessarily a big fan of Britain as a 1v1 civ. It's very one-dimensional. It's a powerful civ, but if your opponent has the counter units to archers, you are dead. And that's exactly what we're seeing over here. Britain's struggling mightily against Aztecs, and sure enough, Britons can go 200 swordsman longswords, but now the mobility factor starts becoming a thing. Being able to just outrun those longswords. This is why it would have been much more reasonable to have those longswords up when the fighting was happening in the middle, in Castle Age. Then they would have clapped those eagles and maybe even allow LaN to establish a forward position. 150 population versus 127. I just feel like we are experiencing a slow and painful death here from LaN, because I am struggling to see his chances back into this game unless Villese makes a mistake. He's still full Castle Agent, he's out of gold now. By the way, these eagles are big chilling here for the time being, but LaN's economy is virtually non-existent soon. So if you look at this, it keeps getting raided, and this is the reason why I think that Aztecs is a far better civilization than Britons here in this game. And in general, this is the reason why I said at the beginning of this set that I kind of dislike LaN's draft. Villase's draft seems a lot more versatile, a lot more diverse when it comes to civilizations. LaN's one feels like it's incorporating a bunch of very one-dimensional civilizations, and part of this was a civ win for Villese, I would say, but part of this is that LaN has made some pretty underwhelming decisions throughout this game. Villese strikes back over here with a rather one-sided win, I would say. LaN has had his options, but he didn't make the decisions that he had to make in a specific time. You see that when I was talking about LaN being a fast player, I did mean it. Look at this. This guy is fast. But one thing is being fast, and one thing is, making the right decisions, and that's something that LaN has to improve in a little bit, I believe. Villese has created 137 elite eagles in the entire game, 96 crossbows. You see the signs of sadness there. 96 crossbows, not even arbs, versus 137 eagles across this game. Civilization was on the side of Villese, that's absolutely true, but I think that there were windows for LaN to do damage. It was just unsuccessful in those windows. And you also have to keep in mind that Villese reacted very nicely to the Drosh FC. He just went in immediately after seeing that it's a Drosh fast castle and dropped towers. Very nice reaction there. That was a top-notch move from Villese. And now we are at an even scoreline. Aztecs will be gone for Villese and Britons will be gone for LaN. We're going to the first home map of LaN over here, which can either be Nomad or Four Lakes. Nomad could be a reasonable map to go for here for LaN, because that could that changes the game quite a bit. It wouldn't be like a standard game like Arabia or Valley that we have seen. It'll be a lot more spiced up, and that is something that could actually help LaN shake up Villese a little bit, because Villese seemed pretty confident playing with these standardish maps. Ornlu, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome everybody from your stream. We're casting Villese versus LaN over here in Collection Cup. So, we have just finished with the second game, and we're now waiting for the third game to start. It's gonna be the first home map of LaN, so we're going to Nomad, or we're going to Four Lakes. We don't know which yet. Alright, it's going to be Four Lakes, and once again, it's gonna be the Civilization pick. That's probably my most hated Civ pick in tournaments. On Four Lakes, Byzantines. Japanese was the predictable pick on Villase's side, and indeed that's the case, but I'm just not a big fan of the Byzantines pick overall for LaN. It feels like it's a very, very one-dimensional, one-trick pony Civ that lives and dies with being able to drop a dock on the opponent's pond. If they are successful doing that, they're actually very, very useful and a pretty powerful Civ, but without that, I just feel like they're pretty underwhelming. Fresh One, thank you so much for gifting another sub, this time to Redcliffe. I appreciate it a lot. And am I right that my alerts are derping out? Hold on. Are my alerts derping out? I'm gonna have to double check. Yeah, my alerts are definitely derping out. I'm gonna have to fix those. Apologies for that. We sort of updated those some time ago, and it looks like something went wrong because they are not showing up apparently. I'm gonna have to check what's up with them. Anyways, we have 20 seconds from the countdown over here. Japanese versus Byzantines on Four Lakes is the name of the game. So we're gonna jump inside. LaN so far has been pretty decent in this set. He has made some decision-making issues, or he's made some bad decisions, I would say, so he's had some decision-making issues. But I always said this many times, that fixing decision-making is probably easier than fixing, like, you know, execution mistakes. So LaN's got the skill set. It is up to him to fix his decision-making in situations to ensure that he doesn't make that many potato moves, because the previous game has had some, I believe. Anyways, we're gonna have Villese here on the north in blue, and directly south of him is LaN in red in a very, very unconventional Four Lakes generation. The two players are extremely close to each other. In fact, this wood line in between them is nearly shared, and both of them are very close to the right-hand side lake as well, so there's technically a chance that we are going to see the first dock of each player going on a contested pond. Now, I think that once LaN scouts his opponent, I think he's just going to go for this pond, and probably Villese will settle with this, but the close presence of the two players could easily mean very aggressive LaN scenarios. In this one, we have, as I said, LaN in red as Byzantines, and to the north, Villese as blue with Japanese. Looking at the bases of the players, you got fairly open south here for Villese. It's really hard to protect this one. Whereas on the south, you are going to have LaN as red Byzantines. He's got a very well volable left side, and his right side is also well volable. And overall, this is actually a very good map for LaN. Gold at the back is nice. Easy vol off on the left side. The middle is fairly well volable. Right side as well. Whereas for Villese, it's a very open map to work with. Not something that he's gonna be happy about for sure. So we are gonna have a deer push coming in here for Villese. LaN so far has not pushed in a single deer, as we are gonna have the deer coming in. Well, it's right now zebra, but it's an equivalent of a deer, so you get what I mean. So we're gonna have that being pushed towards the town center by LaN. So far, neither of the players are aware of the close presence of the opponent, and that's something that should be kept monitored. And you see, this is the moment where Villese is gonna move out with that scout, and he's gonna be like, hey, my opponent should be here. He's gonna be very surprised not to find his opponent there, and now I think he's going to start realizing that, hey, maybe my opponent is around this area. But he is just so far off. How do care practice and samurai work against each other? This is something that we had as a discussion yesterday. Basically, in lower numbers, samurai win, and it depends on upgrades a little bit. After Logistica, and if you have a lot of units out on the field, then probably Catapracts win. But it's one of those scenarios, indeed, where Catapracts and Samurai technically counter each other. So, as long as you don't have Logistica in for the Catapracts, as far as I know, Samurai still win, especially in terms of cost efficiency, because Samurai are much cheaper, and they also train a lot faster than Catapracts do. I mean, Villese is still looking. You see that Villese has trouble finding his opponent. The same can be said of LaN. Both of them are just unable to find the opponent because the opponent is at such an unorthodox spot. Now it's going to be Villese finding the dock of LaN here. He didn't see it. He didn't see it. He sees the zebras, and he now sees the primary goat, so he knows that LaN is here. But that dock remains unspotted, which is extremely important right now for LaN. The reason why this is important is because Villese doesn't know that LaN has a dock here or here. So let's say that Villese wants a sneaky villager. Which pond is he going for? If he's sneaking a villager here, what if LaN has his fish here? So he doesn't have a confirmation about the location of LaN's dock. The same can be said of LaN as well, and it looks like LaN is still trying to figure out where his opponent is at, as LaN now starts walling himself off. In this one, he has pushed in one zebra, his opponent did so with two, and this time around LaN, let's see if he finds that dock. Nope, same thing, exact same thing, one tile apart, and he's not finding that dock. I mean, today's scoutings are just so unlucky for everybody. If you remember the previous game, and oh boy, nice reaction there from LaN. He spotted the straggler trees and he's running back home. Yes, we're gonna have a man at arms opening from Villese here. Now, LaN knows where Villese is at, but what LaN doesn't know is that there's a barracks here, something that he might actually end up finding. He's still looking. There is the berries, and it looks like he's not gonna find the barracks anytime soon. A villager is coming around over here, and I think it is actually going for a sneaky dock on the left side, but that's just gonna be for eco. There's no way he's walking all the way around and landing a sneaky dock here. So yeah, it very much feels like LaN. I think LaN may suspect that the dock is here. Do you know why? Because there is two ponds to which you could go for. This one on the right and this one on the north. And now that he sees the houses, he probably is like, it makes more sense for Villese to go for this pond than this pond. Same thing for Villese here. It probably makes more sense for him to think that his opponent is on the south because that's a safer pond in this one. Anyways, that the scout is almost a feudal age scout because Villese has just reached feudal age, and the timing of that fight is absolutely perfect for Villese. I don't think that that villager is going to survive, and with that villager dying, the men-at-arms will have an easy way into the base of the opponent. An absolutely disastrous start here for LaN. The only thing that he can be happy about is that the man-at-arms upgrade is a little bit delayed, so those are not men-at-arms right now, but they'll be men-at-arms in 30 seconds. And guess what? It looks like LaN just wants to play Free Dogs Fish Boom in this one. Looks like he has given up on his idea of dropping a dock on the opponent, and we're just gonna have free docks. Boom here. Nice quick walls, but remember that the TC fire won't help. There is no villagers to garrison inside the TC. So you gotta be careful here if you're LaN, as we're gonna have a villager coming out on the right side as well for Villese. So this is gonna be a contested pond. Left hand side seems to be in the hands of LaN, and on the south it's also gonna be LaN's pond. Considering that there is an archer ranger, now it's a barracks coming up, but considering that his opponent is going for man-at-arms and LaN is on gold, it's likely we're going to see an archer range from our red player so that he can actually deal with these men-at-arms inside his eco. He tried to delay this group of men-at-arms from hitting this wood line with the scout, but now his scout is very, very weak. It's pretty important, by the way, that this scout is alive, because this gives some valuable information for LaN in the future. And now, this is a nice move. That's a very nice move from Villese. Men-at-arms bashing the wall from the inside, and then there's archers already. And that one archer is going to cause so much damage. First of all, we are gonna have the wall broken through, and the thing is that you can sit behind your walls against the men-at-arms until there is no archers, or there is no villagers left. And is there an overchop there? I'm not 100% sure. A defensive tower will be forced on LaN in this one. The tower is going up, but there was already one villager dead from LaN, make it 2. And look at the tower coming in from Villese. He's out here for blood after losing the first game. And he is gonna potentially pick off another Vil. He's gonna be more than happy to just leave now. He still has his men-at-arms alive, which is also very valuable, as we are seeing LaN adding skirmishers. LaN has the left-hand side pawn, that's nice. And it looks like he has fire galleys on the right side pawn, but guess what? He's just patrolling. It looks like he is too busy defending against Vilese's aggression, so he's not sending the fire galley here to destroy this dock. Meanwhile, Villese has no idea about the presence of LaN until now. This is the moment where he's gonna realize that, oh shoot, LaN is on that pond. Scouts coming in from Villese to deal with the skirmishers. He also has the men-at-arms, and those are very good at dealing with the skirmishers as well. So, just scare away the skirms for the time being, and then use the archers to pick off Vils. Very nicely done here by Villese, and I feel like he's inflicting way too much of a damage here on LaN here. Especially when Villese realizes that, as I said, he has to fight on the right side. He's gonna do that as well. Archers, once again, scaring away the Vils, men-at-arms chasing the skirms. And there's already, as I said, a forward stable coming in. Tower is denying the back of the wood line, and I have to say that Villese seems to be just one step ahead. In the first game, he kind of felt a little rusty, as if he wasn't completely warmed up. But this game is much, much cleaner from Villese. So far, this is, as I said, a Villese that feels the blood in the water, because he's playing really clean in this one, taking some good fights so far, as LaN had to fall back to this wood line to get some wood income for himself. And as I said, soon scouts are hitting the field, as the skirmishers are now in numbers. Wait a second. The zebra died? No! Poor zebra. Feels bad, man. Anyways, Villese is losing his fishing eco on the right side, but he has fishing eco on the north. He's got 9 fishing ships, his opponent has 13. This is the reason why LaN is actually ahead by 4 Vils, but you also have to consider that Villese is going for Castle Age. So, sure enough, LaN has the better fishing eco, and that's gonna help. But Villese is beating him to Castle Age right now, double stables already, and Japanese have fully upgraded Castle Age Knights, so double stable Knights can work really nicely, as we have a villager fight on the left side. Looks like this is really close, but I'm gonna make my bet on LaN winning this by a split second. You see that Vilese's villager HP is dropping slightly earlier than the one from LaN. Villese will not try to take the hill here and take this fight, I believe. That's his best bet. Otherwise, this lady is just gonna die. And, oh, a scout is coming in here! Oh my goodness, what a play once again from Villese. He ran away just enough to allow a scout to arrive on time and kill that Vil. I think he could have actually won that fight with just the villager as well if he takes the hill, but that was another villager kill. Their archers moving in to pick off a Vil here as well. Just everything is going in the favor of Villese now. And you see that LaN is trying to react to this dock coming up, but from this point on, the fishing here is contested. And that's what hurts really badly for LaN. Because if his fishing eco starts becoming contested, his land eco is already worse than his opponent's one. So if the fishing eco starts to feel the pressure, then suddenly LaN's eco is going to collapse. Meanwhile, Scout is trying to knock his way through the walls. Knights are already coming out. Monks also on the field to convert potential camels. As I said, I feel like Villese is just one step ahead in every possible aspect of the game right now. LaN is really struggling for wood. This is the only wood line that he can actually utilize. The rest of them have all been denied by towers or by crossbows. Elite skirms will be in for LaN over here, but there's already knights out to deal with them. No siege workshop just yet from Villese though, and a siege workshop will definitely help taking down those skirms and potentially preventing a second layering of the walls. On the left hand side pond, LaN is unpopping the fire galley, so we're gonna have a fight here. But as I said, right side pond seems to be in the hands of Villese now. 11 fishing ships versus 12. War galley upgrade coming in here for our red player. It looks like a monk is going to join the party, trying to convert the repair villager in this one. And it looks like the walls are slowly being broken through here. The tower is also helping, and the villager dies. The villager died here to the tower, and now those walls are so weak that you could actually take them down. If you look at the HPs, this one is 1 HP, so this is non-existent right now, and this one is 14. You can take this down and run in with the knights. Not sure if Villese is actually motivated to do that, but he's got his opportunity to run in there. Meanwhile, it looks like LaN is gonna be able to keep control over the left-hand side pond because he has gotten the fire ship upgrade, something that Villese does not have. But Villese secures the right side pond, and now Villese gets a sneaky dock up on the southern pond of LaN, which is basically the heart and soul of LaN's food eco. Now manganose are coming in as well, and that gold mine starts to become dangerously exposed as well. Knights are in with just +1 defense, but it's only against skirmishers, and they have manganose support, so they will survive. And LaN is under serious pressure here. Even a villager gets converted, so I guess that's an extra vill there for Villese. He will definitely not feel vill-less in this game, as a fire galley is now coming in to hit this fishing eco. This dock on the left side has been cleaned up from Villese, so that's not gonna cause more chaos in the next couple of minutes. But oh, manganol could pop out here for LaN to take down that manganol, as now the elite scrims are chasing the crossbows. There isn't really a lot of either siege or knights here for Villese to deal with all those elite skirms, so LaN might be able to hold, but there is going to be... Look at this, monk is converting an elite skirm. Great value. So here's the battering ram knocking down the archer range. What you have to do here is pop out the manganose and take down that ram with the manganose overall. So, meanwhile, we now have fire ship for Villese as well, immediately destroying the fishing eco of the opponent. And that means that LaN is down to 6 fishing ships. Mangonel is now out, and that's exactly what LaN has to do. Pop out the Mangonel at the back of the archer range, take down the ram as the Mangonel now comes in. It's gonna be a 1-for-1 trade for the time being, as the monk once again tries to get a skirmisher converted, and then will decide to disengage. Behind this one there is 2 TCs as well for Villese, and that's something that should be monitored as well. He seems to have 3 pawns under his control now. So really, LaN's food income is very limited here. He's got 4 fishing ships working, and that's basically it. And if you consider that he's making skirms, he needs to make vills, his economy is gonna suffer from that really heavily. You see that he's at 40 eco, his opponent is at 61, so economy advantage is growing very heavily here for Villese, and I feel like those skirms might easily become very isolated here. The monks are running back home, and now there's a manganol chasing, there is knights chasing as well. Sure enough, those skirms will try to take the best fight possible, but you can't fight knights and manganols at the same time. Still, staggered formation is going to make sure that they can get the best value for themselves, but once that army goes down, I feel like LaN is just omega dead. There's DC coming in here. The skirmishers might find a couple of villager kills over here. There is no +2 defense for those knights, so they still take some like notable damage from those skirmishers, especially without bloodlines. But they should still be able to clean this one up, especially if a third one joins the party. It looks like there's gonna be 1 villager killed by LaN here. That's probably the most that he can achieve. Maybe a second one can be a kill. Indeed, there's a second villager there as well. So 2 villagers was the entire value that LaN got for those skirmishers. Redemption now coming in. I think that's a good upgrade to defend with. The problem is that this is not gonna come down to Castle Age defense. This is gonna come down to economy. 67 compared to 39 eco, with LaN having only one pond under his control. He tried to take back the right side one, but the villager got intercepted. So really at this point, you got Villese, who is just booming in this one. He could get a castle up on this hill, which would be a very nice castle once he gets the stone for it. As it is just more and more skirmishers. LaN is nowhere close to going into Imperial, and he will probably not be in the next 20 minutes or so, because he basically has no food income that's operational and consistent. He's got 9 on food, but he doesn't have the berries. His fishing eco is running dry on the left-hand side pond. That's a nice conversion on the knight, and the knight now dives in to snap the mangonel. That was a nicely done move by LaN, but still, at this point, Villese doesn't need to do anything. Quick conversion there for LaN, as Villese is going to end up losing knights. Villese is not taking the best engagements out there either, to be honest, and I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the more disappointing games of this set, because it feels blatantly obvious that Villese is going to win this game, yet the game is just going to be very, very long, because Villese isn't able to deal a finishing blow here in Castle Age, but he's also spending his resources on Castle Age army, so he's not going into Imperial and just steamrolling his opponent with Arbalasts there, so yeah, this game is a bit of a letdown so far, but at this point, Villese has a very, very confident lead. In this one, 79 to 46 equal. We're almost talking double the economy. So, yeah, if you look at the Villase's resources, that should be Imperial Age in the next couple of minutes. Here come the Knights once again, this time supported by Mangonels. Weird ground attack there from LaN. And once again, we are gonna have the Mangonels coming out. Redemption Monk is there, but Redemption, you also have to accompany that with Sanctity, something that LaN has as well. This is why, because you need to make sure that you don't end up losing your monks to a single Mangonel shot. Looks like LaN's defense here is nice, which all in all is great. He even gets a conversion on the Mangonel, now takes a shot and almost takes down the monk of his opponent. But as I said, it's 87 vills compared to 49, so it's just a matter of time right now. There is Imperial Age coming in for Villese, and it looks like he's a little bit scared of losing that forward position, so he's not gonna pick those relics up and garrison them inside this monastery. He's gonna build a new one here. And with 4 on stone, there should be a castle coming up in the foreseeable future, and I would assume we're going to see Arbalasts here. Or just pure elite skirms, that might also work. Oh man, like, this game was over a long time ago. 27 will kills to Villese, 5 only for LaN, and that has set back LaN quite heavily. But still, LaN is trying, because I don't think that LaN is aware of how much behind he is. But he actually is very much behind, especially with a Sneaky Dog coming in here from Villese on the left-hand side pond. He's still trying to deal and deliver the killing blow here. Something that could maybe be done by this fire galley or fire ship, destroying these fishing ships. Now, Redemption Monks are no joke, and guess what? These tables are starting to get converted here by LaN, so he's gonna come in, try to convert those. Villese is gonna have to delete them eventually. Like, you shouldn't allow your opponent to convert them. There is Light Cav upgrade coming in, as the scouts pop out. The scouts pop out, and it looks like one of these tables got converted. It was the one that was researching the Light Cav. So you see that actually both of them got converted. Disaster there for Villese. I think he should have just deleted that. He was trying to get the monk sniped at least, but that didn't work out that much. And it looks like we're gonna have full elite skirm wars in Imperial, as the fire ships now find each other, and Villese will engage with the fishing economy of LaN on the left side. Meanwhile, battering rams are knocking down this monastery and market, so in retrospective, it was a good decision from Villese to send the relics to this monastery here. And one thing that Villese doesn't have is army. So sure enough, he's in Imperial, but we're talking about 16 army, most of that being fire ships, crossbows, knights, monks. So, now it is elite skirms popping out from multiple ranges. Bracer is just now coming in, but then you're gonna need +4 defense as well. And remember that LaN is not that far away from clicking up. This is such an awkward game, because LaN's eco is like almost half of what Villese has. Yet, it's not like LaN is dying. So it is just so weird that Villese isn't able to land the killing blow. I think if he got a castle up and went for Samurai, he would just be able to win the game pretty easily. He tried to go for Light Cav, but I'm not sure if Light Cav is the solution here. I think Samurai is something that you are gonna be perfectly fine with here. It's pure elite skirms and a couple of monks. Samurai train pretty fast, so even if you lose a couple of them to conversions, you would just rush down the monks and the skirms after, so that wouldn't have been a big issue either. Looks like LaN is gonna be able to keep his fishing eco on the left side intact, as Villese controls the other 3 pawns over here. And now it looks like Villese wants a sandwich. He wants to send the elite skirms over here and just completely surround his opponent here. Ballistics, ring archer armor coming in as well. LaN, not far away from Imperial. Yeah, champion could also work. I really don't like that he just went for early imp into elite skirm. That kind of feels off. As now the monks will not get a conversion. The knights try to dive in and snipe the mangonel, but that didn't work out. So yeah, this is one of the reasons why I don't like the elite skirm play. Sure enough, you will have better upgrades, but like LaN is going into Imperial as well, and you're not taking good enough engagements here. So champion, samurai could have been much more reasonable. And remember that LaN actually got 2 stables from his opponent here, so those could prove valuable here. Villase's eco is so messy. In general, this is a very chaotic and awkward game. Like, honestly, looking at this game, I kind of feel like neither of these players deserve to win this right now. Because Villese is struggling quite heavily at finishing off LaN, despite the fact that he technically had double the wills for the majority of the game. On the other side, LaN has pretty much not been doing anything in this game, just defending, and he's not dead. Yeah, LaN should have been dead 50 minutes ago. I have no idea how this game is still being played. This was like 100 wills to 60, or even before that 80 to 40 or so. So now the elite skirms, obviously, now that they have the upgrades, even though they're missing chemistry, they will be better than the Byzantine ones, but Byzantine ones are cheaper, so I'm not even sure if this is resource efficient enough for Villese. And with the castle going up here, the thing is that once again this push is going to stall out. And behind this one, LaN is actually climbing up in villager count. Let's see if he's going Catapracts. I think that in this game, the Byzantine player has to go Catapracts. There's just absolutely nothing that Japanese can do against Catapracts. So here come a couple of knights, get some raiding damage done in there. They might find a couple of will kills, which is nice value there for Villese. We're gonna have another castle for Villese on this crucial choke point on top of the hill. And it looks like LaN is not making any Catapracts right now. Feels like it is pure elite skirm. I still have no idea how he's alive still. Like, the reason why he's alive is because Villese is also just spamming skirms. But now that Imperial Age is in for LaN, he's also gonna spam skirms, and we're gonna be in for one of the most painful late games that we're going to see. Are they gonna play until gold runs out? I don't think that they care about gold, because both of them are completely spamming skirms. Finally, scale mail coming in here for Villese. Not samurai, but maybe a glimpse of hope for champions here. As this castle is under fire now by multiple trebs. Japanese trebs at Karaparuto will also be better than the Byzantine trebs over here. In exchange, Byzantine castles are pretty hard to take down, so that gives a bit of a leverage for LaN, extends the time it takes for his opponent to take it down. Elite skirm is not diving in on this side. Remember, there is still no +4 defense or chemistry for LaN over here, so the only thing that goes for him is the cheaper cost. By the way, LaN has not even horse color, not even boso. He's got 11 on food. I mean, LaN was dead 15 minutes ago, and it looks like finally Villese is able to land the killing blow, but I have to say that this was one of the more painful games I've watched in recent memory, because this game was probably one of the least entertaining ones out there. Like, Villese was pretty much just sitting back booming. He tried to poke around, but as I said, those didn't accomplish much, and honestly, if he just sits back and booms, this game could have been over faster. Still, I mean, if you look at this count, this is what tells the whole story of the game. It was a limited amount of kills for a game that was like 44 minutes long, but Villese just outboomed his opponent and eventually won the game. That's it. So, free relics gathered, by the way, by Villese is actually nice over here, but the key thing was that early push. Like, the first half of the game was clinical precision for Villese. Like, the way he used the man-at-arms, the way he used the archers early on, picked off so many wheels, the way he actually secured 2 and then 3 pawns for himself, those were top notch from Villese. I just really dislike how he ended up going Imperial and just go full skirms. That felt so wacky. So, now we have another win for Villese, and we will have a 2-1 scoreline in here for him. He's gonna win with Japanese, and Byzantines, you can chalk up another loss for them on this map. I don't even know if I've seen Byzantines win on 4 lakes in this tournament so far. This means that we are going to the second home map of LaN, which will be Nomad. Should be Persians versus Malians over here. And now there is a surprise here. The first overall pick for LaN in the draft was Malians. And most of us have thought that he's gonna go Nomad on it. Because Malians is pretty powerful on Nomad. But guess what? He's going Spanish. This is a thing that the Chinese players do very frequently. So Yo, Vivi especially, going for Chinese on or going for Spanish on Nomad. And it's not a bad idea, but that raises some questions to me. For example, picking Malians as your first overall pick and then ending up using it on Golden Swamp, that's a bit debatable, I would say. Maybe he thought he wasn't gonna lose Vikings to Snipe. That's something I can think about. Maybe he wanted to use Vikings on Golden Swamp and then Malians on Nomad, and then Spanish on Valley and Britons on Arabia or something like that. But it looks like now he's gonna settle with the Spanish on Nomad, so it's gonna be Conquistador play after all. So it looks like LaN beat Jordan on 4 lakes at Byzantines in the first round. Yeah, I didn't see that series. This is why I said that I have not seen anyone winning with Byzantines, but that doesn't mean there wasn't any. So, here we go. Nomad is what we start with. I haven't seen LaN play Nomad for a long time. Neither did I with Villese, so not sure what to expect from this matchup. We're gonna have Villese as Blue Persians on the north, and very close to him is LaN in red as Spanish, in a setup which is very bad for the Spanish, I believe. Because if you're playing Spanish here, you want to play Fast Castle. You want to play Conquistadors, and I don't think that this setup over here is actually a Conquistador style map. You could still go for Tower Rush though with Spanish, and that could work. Depends on how fast you find your opponent, and I think that LaN seeing this cow over here, he should know that Villese might be around. He will bump into that. He will bump into this TC, so I think that LaN is about to know that his opponent is around here. Look at this. This should clearly tell him that LaN is around here, or Villese is around here. For LaN, his position remains unknown, but I think that this cow is just gonna bump into this TC in a moment, so both of them will be aware of each other here. LaN's dock spot is much better than Villese's one, to be honest. Villese has only one deep fish very close to this dock, whereas this dock is much better long-term for LaN, so I kind of like this one over the one of Villese. And indeed, if you take a look at Villese's scouting, he has lost cow over here, so that has to be the TC spot of LaN, or it's very likely it is, because the water could be close, it could technically be the docking villager, but I think that he probably knows that it's gonna be the TC of the opponent, and that's why he's moving in for that boar really fast. He doesn't need that boar immediately, but he knows that taking that boar means that LaN cannot have it. And that was the only boar that was reasonably close to LaN. The second closest is this one over here. What a start for Villese here. And remember that Villese has a lot more resources around this area, second boar as well. And yeah, on the other hand, LaN's resources could be pretty limited here. He's a bit cornered, I would say, whereas Villese has a lot of space to fall back to. So, for now, it's gonna be a peaceful Dark Age over here, and we're gonna have to wait to see how things unfold. Are we gonna see a tower rush or so? But Villese, I think, has caught the start a lot better than LaN did. So, let's see what we got. We already have the second fishing ship almost finished for Villese. LaN has it out already. One thing that I would love to see from LaN is using this huntable and taking some food from it and then dropping it off at the dock using the shorefish. That's a trick that you could use. And that way you could actually get a little bit more food with this villager eventually, because right now if this villager runs out of shorefish, it's done gathering food. But if you gather from the hunt, even though it's a little slower at the beginning, you take food from the hunt, drop it off, and then you can take the shorefish a little later. So you overall have a little bit more of a long-term food income from here. Look at the cow race. Look at the cow race. Ready, set, go. On the left side of the map, we're gonna have the red cow taking a massive advantage. Apparently the blue one is going to be lagging behind quite a bit. The reflexes of a sleeping turtle belonging to that blue cow over there. But now the red one apparently just staring at the forest over here as he's gonna be taken over by blue. Blue apparently displaying massive sportsmanship over here, waiting for his opponent to just chill at the trees. And it looks like red now taking over once again. Turns around, what is he doing? Blue, is it blue winning it? The sportsman crossing the end, and that is it. Blue, the blue cow winning the annual cow race of Nomad over here. Red deciding to forfeit after turning back on the course. What a win. Alright, back where we were. We got some romantic houses over here, as we're gonna have some walls coming up from LaN. Feudal Age is not coming in for either player just yet, and we are gonna have a lot of chaos unfolding in between these two players. I'm always curious about how border checkpoints work when you have two houses adjacent to each other. This feels a little bit like, you know, West Germany, East Germany, and the Berlin Wall in between them. Because currently it's like, oh yeah, howdy neighbor, I'm sorry you can't come over because you don't have your visa. So, it looks like Villese is gonna click up slightly faster, something that probably could have been expected given the fact that he had the two easy boars to lure in, whereas for LaN, he is definitely struggling for food. Struggling to an extent that he cannot even click up to feudal, which means that this is gonna be a fast castle, regardless of whether or not this is intentional. So, it has to be an FC here for LaN, that's his only shot. The question is, what is Villese gonna do? Because 24 eco, this feels very much like it's going to be just trying to contest water a little bit, but I think it should more like be a tower rush, and indeed, it looks like he's not going for gold and contesting the water, he's gonna tower rush. The good news for LaN here is that he can absolutely drop a feels good man style lumber camp, which is actually a mining camp here, because this one is able to access the stone and the gold at the same time, and even though Villese could technically just deny the stone mine over here, if LaN can actually get up to Castle Age and get stone here, he could actually rush up a castle around this area, and then things could get problematic for Villese. Feudal Age has been queued up by LaN, and because Villese is not pushing the fishing eco of LaN, this might work out. This might work out because if LaN has an untouched fishing eco, he can actually gather the food he needs to get up to Castle Age real fast. It looks like Villese is not gonna be far away from Castle Age himself, completely untouched fishing eco for both players, not even a single fire galley on the horizon for either side, as we're gonna have a forward archer range here by Villese. He knows exactly that it's one thing that you tower your opponent from this side, you also want to make sure that he cannot actually leave and expand to the left. Now, these walls will be up in time, I believe, but currently LaN is unaware of that archer range coming up for him. So, it looks like LaN, he might be able to actually get Castle Age here. This is gonna be dicey though, because that tower might be able to range the villagers beneath the TC. So technically, that tower could deny the cows, and I think this cow was actually hit by a tower. I'm not 100% sure, but there's a chance that that tower actually hit the cow. Meanwhile, LaN is sneaking around as well. He spotted the houses, so he should know that there is something coming out over there. For now, it looks like this villager is just looping around. Oh boy, I thought that LaN is actually going to do something sneaky, like drop a tower here behind the wood line of the opponent, but nope, this villager just walled herself out and then started walking back all the way around. Another tower comes in here for Villese, and indeed, thanks to this pathfinding over here for LaN, he's going to be very happy about that. He's going to see that there is houses here, and when there is houses, there has to be something else as well, and indeed, there's an archer range. And that archer range is pretty massive, I would say. There's a fire galley out for Villese, but that fire galley is choosing the wrong way. Look at this. It's going all the way to the left, so it's not going to find LaN's fishing eco, and this is extremely important, as I said. LaN has managed to click up to Castle Age, and in such a chaotic scenario, where the two players are so close, with Spanish builders, we all know which direction this is going. This is going for a castle. The question is where you drop that castle. Where can you even drop a castle and successfully finish it? I don't think that you have any chance of directly castle dropping Villese, but you could get something like this house deleted and then drop a castle here. So, here come the next tower from Villese. This time around, it's going to be counter-towered by LaN, and he's got the Spanish builders. So, Villese is going to have to bail out on this one. Another tower comes in. This is purely to make sure that Villese can get through these walls, although I'm unsure if that's actually going to be possible with this tower around. And contingency walls will come in as well for LaN. LaN is just mining stone like a madman, as the fire galley is about to hit his fishing eco here in the next couple of moments. No fire galley from LaN just yet. The question is how much damage LaN will be able to cause with his early conquistadors and his early castles. I think that LaN should just keep these villas on stone, use these villas to make a castle, and then when the castle cleaned up these two towers, you have to make a second castle. Because at this point, I think your best military is the castle. You don't need conquistadors because the base of Villese is pretty well defended with TCs, he's got archers, blah blah blah. I think 2 castle drops, or like 1 defensive and then 1 following it up right next to the TC of Villese actually makes more sense here for LaN. Another defensive tower comes in to prevent that tower on the wood line. Obviously, the fact that you have to make defensive towers delays you dropping castles, but not by a considerable margin. You see that LaN should have the stone he needs to drop a castle immediately. As I said, his fishing eco is going to be very, very exposed, and I like the decision for Villese that he's not chasing down this one. He is just chilling here and destroying the fishing eco of LaN. So LaN's economy is going to be absolutely awful. However, you also have to consider that a castle could change a lot of things, and that is the castle coming up. It's going to be pretty close, and it's going to be hard to get it up, because there is multiple towers shooting at those villas, and Villese knows exactly that he can't allow that castle to go up. But these are Spanish builders, you have the TC close by. I don't think that Villese can stop this entirely. And it would probably be better now for LaN to just abandon that tower. Indeed, just hop out with the villas, send in all the villas that he's got to get that castle up. It's still gonna be very, very close, and he needs all the villas that he can have to get that up, because there's multiple towers fully garrisoned shooting at those villas. Bit of a villager dancing, and I think that Lord Doubt is about to bless us here. 80%. Many of those villas are super weak, so this could actually end up being a proper doubt castle, but it looks like Villese will actually decide not to commit more to that. Villese played this one safely. I think if he just keeps the villagers inside, he could have killed 2 or 3 more villas, but he wanted to avoid losing his own. And now the castle is just going to clean up the towers over here real quick, and that means, oh, LaN wants to trap that army over there. That's a smart move. And with that, he could actually retaliate for some of the villagers lost. Because now, there is absolutely no chance for Villese to escape with that army over there. So this is why he's voting this one off. The villager here trying to escape. But is it LaN who's gonna lose that will? Nope. He's gonna be fine for a time being. Fine for a time being. It looks like he's gonna stay fine. Conquistadors are now in. And this is why I said that I think that LaN's next step should be being able to drop a second castle. He doesn't have the economy. His best bet is that he can actually drop a second castle and annihilate the eco of his opponent. He has lost water. Still, behind this one, Villese has fishing eco, whereas LaN does not. It looks like the Conquistadors will now move in, try to snap the archers, try to snap the Vales, and they will be successful in that regard. So, at the end of the day, we will have probably 4 villager kills here for LaN and 9 for Villese. 11 villagers advantage right now for our blue player. Monastery is coming in now, but guess what? The Conquistadors can start doing a lot of damage as the second TC is coming in from our blue player. And this is where the conks start becoming scary. Sure enough, the monks will actually hold them off, but monks will have to keep chasing, and this is exactly the hit and run style play that you have to do. And remember, LaN is on stone with 6-5 villagers depending on what he has on his mind right now. I think if LaN just keeps adding a couple more villas to stone, he could drop a second castle around this area, and that would be devastating. I like how Villese is moving out to the south, because this way, if they move out to the south, he's gonna have some freedom there where he won't be raided. Husbandry coming in now for those camels for Villese, as he just wants to get those conquistadors killed with the monk now popping out for a conversion. Villese has basically no economy, 45% efficiency. Look at this. This is not even remotely close to being operational. He can't get a lot more monks out because he barely has any gold income. Obviously, once he has like a couple of camels out and like 3-4 monks, these conks will no longer be useful. But that's the domain where, as I said, you need to follow this up with a second castle so that you keep applying pressure, maybe even here. You drop the castle here and the TC is gone. So now it is 30 to 39 eco as Villese is getting his second TC up on the south. And as I said, 6 on stone for LaN over here. He has to continue with castle drops. He is actually falling behind economically quite heavily because he isn't really able to consistently produce vills. But guess what? Because Villese is not fighting on water, LaN is actually gonna go for a dock on the left side. I like that. It's a sneaky dock, but he realized that Villese only has 1 fire galley. And sure enough, Villese has his own fishing eco, but what if both players just have even fishing eco? That is good for LaN. Apparently he believes that even game is gonna be alright, because he can just continue to press on with castles soon, so this is gonna be a good spot for him to be in. There is a board that he could also take, as LaN is now mining stone here close to his TC. He lost a conquistador to a conversion, but that was all. 429 stone in the bank, as Villese is trying to increase his eco lead, but it's pretty hard. Because one thing Villese doesn't have is a consistent food eco. He's got 6 fishing ships, but barely any farmers, and those fishing ships aren't necessarily super efficient all the time, so Villese, even though he has 2 TCs, he cannot really go for a massive boom here. That's why he's only 11 villagers at, which is actually just 8 now. So, here comes the second castle from LaN here, I believe, in a matter of moments. Forward Siege Workshop, I like that as well. You're gonna make a battering ram most likely and start ramming down the market and more importantly the stable here to prevent the camos from being produced. Conquistadors will now dive in, get a monk, but they will lose one conquistador to a conversion. So one conch trade to one monk there, not necessarily something that's super efficient. And a mangonel first, as LaN is selling stone here. So he wants a mangonel to deal with the monks, and then he wants to keep pressing on. But he's mining stone really heavily, so he needs a second castle somewhere where it actually starts impacting the game. He could also try bashing his way through these walls, which would allow him to run to the north and maybe hit the back of this wood line, as now Villese is slowly starting to add more and more vills here. He's 3 TCs, and he still doesn't have a super reliable food income, but it's getting there. So I think LaN is on a bit of a timer here. He definitely has a force to destroy Villese with, but he needs to make it count, because, as I said, otherwise Villese will just outboom him. Stone is there for a castle, and I think that's gonna be the castle spot. Or, yeah, there is the castle. Alright. That's a good castle spot, by the way. That's a very, very good castle spot from LaN, because the only way that Villese will be able to reach those vills if he deletes the stable. But quick walls from LaN coming in here. The camos are not particularly good killing vills though, so I think this was a bad decision here from LaN, believe it or not. Because the thing is that by deleting that stable, he actually, well, just lost that stable right away. Whereas it's not like he actually got any reasonable value for that. I think it was like a quick decision that he had to make, but that was definitely the wrong one, as now the camos will escape to the north. LaN tried to trap them, but he didn't actually count for the holes, or the walls to be opened out there. So now, Conquistadors will jump into the castle here, and this is where the conks will start becoming a pretty devastating force. There is a couple of monks here for Villese, but honestly 14 conks is something that will be scary against that many monks. And remember that the fact that Villese has to relocate his eco every once in a while is something that's going to decrease his efficiency quite heavily. LaN has 16 on stone. Do you know what that means? You know exactly what that means. When this TC goes down, we're going to see another castle. He's just gonna keep chasing with castles. I think LaN could really invest into a battering ram, because currently the main choke point or bottleneck that he's facing is that it takes so much time for him to take down the town centers. So really at this point, his best bet would be to just get a battering ram and start knocking down those buildings really fast. Defensive castle coming in here for Villese. You know that Villese wants this defensive castle. He's committing like, what? I think it's like 27 or so vills at getting this up. LaN got the best out of this one, I believe. Killed a couple of vills, so now he's got 18 villagers killed compared to only 9 lost. Villese still has the eco lead, and this is going to sort of slow down LaN's progress. But it's not gonna slow it down that much if you think about it. Because I think LaN could drop a castle here, maybe. Like, this castle is not stopping LaN by any means, and sure, Villese is actually having a relocated eco here, but that's not that super impactful, and Villese has trouble with the wood income, like serious trouble with the wood income. He cannot really take any forests, and this castle is not actually helping preventing those raids on the wood line either. So, I am unsure about this castle spot for Villese. I mean, it's gonna help, but I don't think it helps enough to compensate for the problems that are currently hitting Villese here. And as I said, 800 stone in the bank for LaN. The only way that I could see Villese actually turn this around is if he gets to Imperio and he can trap these castles down. By the way, it was very sloppy from Villese not deleting these farms. He lost 2 more vills, trying to... like, those villagers were trying to farm here. In such a situation, you delete these farms immediately, because your villagers will otherwise go there automatically when their own farms runs out. Nice raid over there as well by LaN, and while Villese's eco is still better than LaN's one, Villese just needs to keep relocating and relocating. Still, I think that Villese is slowly carving out a decent food count in the bank, and as I said, this game is all about traps. If Villese actually gets traps out here, then he's gonna win the game, but that's not something that he believes is actually possible. He's gonna tap out, because that castle is gonna deny his gold, it's gonna deny some of his wood line, and I don't think that he was aware that he was still ahead in economy. because the score is currently lying, I believe. LaN has a lot higher score than Villese, but realistically speaking, LaN's score is mostly fueled by this KD and not necessarily by the eco. So had the Villese known that, hey, my economy is alright, I can do fish boom over here, I can sit behind my castles a little bit, and just go into Imperial, trap this one down, it could have been a solution. I'm not saying that Villese was leading, because LaN was playing this one really aggressively, and he actually was very successful with these raids with the Conquistadors. But on the other hand, I don't think that Villese was completely dead in this game. But I guess that's good for the neutral fans, those that just want to see a lot of games, because this brings us to a decider fifth game, which is going to be on the home map of Villese over here. So we would go to Golden Swamp in a Mongols versus Malians matchup, which is quite unconventional for that map, I must say. So Spanish is a victory here for LaN, and Persians will be a defeat for our blue player. Quick look at the stats here. So you see that at some point it looked very, very dicey for LaN. His population kept dropping, and he just wasn't really able to get much done. But once Castle Age hit, once those castles started to become a factor, suddenly he started swinging it back into his favor. As I said, Vilese's eco was much, much stronger. So that's why I said that it's not like he was completely out of this game. Obviously, he had to relocate his base, but he had a southern foothold, he had untouched fishing eco, and the castles prevented the Conquistadors from doing a whole lot of damage. Obviously, it's hard to judge whether or not you were completely out or not here, but I think in this case, Villese had at least a small chance, like 20% or so. Because his villager count was still there, he had some monks out, he didn't really have a huge amount of map control, but he has 2 castles that protect some of his eco. So he could have maybe tried getting to Imperial and then trapping those castles down to save the day. But I don't blame him for resigning, because he was in a tough spot anyways. And with that, we are gonna have a decider game coming in here in this set. LaN has played a decider game in the first round versus Jordan, ended up winning it, and he ended the set 3-2. This to win a quarterfinal, and you see that LaN is having some decent games. Even though I'm not saying that he's playing on a top 10 level, if he actually managed to figure out the technical difficulties, as I mentioned before, he's gonna be a powerful player. Someone to keep an eye out in the next half a year or so. As I said, the remaining civilizations are Mongols and Malians. The first pick of LaN in the entire draft versus the last pick of Villese. But Mongols for a last pick is an absolutely beautiful civilization pick. Malians for a first pick, I guess LaN was saving this civilization up for this map, so he probably has some sort of plan for it. We could see something like a Men-at-Arms opening or so, but more on that later. Late game obviously favors Mongols here, so the Malian player has to be very, very aggressive in this map, as we are gonna jump into game number 5. The winner goes on into the semifinals, and they will take on the winner of Hera versus Kaposh. So welcome to Golden Swamp, which is Vilese's home map. In this case, Villese will be playing Mongols in blue on the south. To the north, it is going to be LaN as Malians in red. Both boars are front, and he is going for the war buffaloes right at the beginning. This is something that I've noticed in this version of the Golden Swamp generation. Your war buffaloes are often on the front, so you gotta go out fast over there, because your opponent could be coming in there to steal it. And indeed, that is Villese coming in with a very aggressive scout, so was definitely looking for a laming opportunity here. Even if he's not laming the rhinos, he could be laming the water buffaloes. This map has a huge amount of water buffaloes on them, so fast castle style plays are more than possible. We will see if that is on the mind of LaN. Villese will now find his opponent's base, and I think he will bump into the Rhino, so he's gonna have an opportunity to lame here. Let's see if Villese is gonna do that. Technically, he could even double lame. He's coming in with the first lame. Is he gonna try the second? Nope. He's not doing it for the fans. It would have been a beautiful move to see a double lame for Villese, but that is already a start. And remember, he's Mongols, so having that extra boar is an enormous advantage for Villese over here. LaN Scout has been on the left side, and it looks like he's not going to be able to do much about that lame. Best thing he can achieve is probably counter-laming the opponent in this one, but this is going to be a very, very nice and clean lame here from our blue player. So Villese will have one extra boar, obviously something that is a massive, massive advantage for Mongols. Let's see if LaN is going to be able to retaliate a little bit. Even if he cannot actually lame a boar, laming a couple of water buffaloes could also help. Obviously, it's not as good as laming a boar, but it could help a tiny bit. And let's see if he's going to spot the boars. He sees them. He sees them, and it looks like he's not going for it. Villese already bringing in his first boar as well. And it very much seems like LaN is just going to settle with the fact that, hey, he has just lost a boar. Which is kind of sad for him, I would say. He definitely wanted more from this start. So Villese, once again, catching the start slightly better than his opponent did. There's a chance that he could find 2 water buffaloes at the left side of the base of Villese. And that could be helpful for LaN, but it looks like that's not going to be the case either. So crystal clean start so far for Villese here. He's even pushing in there. That is going to be an insane food income at the beginning for our blue player. Looking at the base of Villese, he's got double stones at the back. Golds are relatively safe as well. The woodlands are not so nice, and the primary gold is wide open. And in general, the front of Villese's base is very open. But the start that he has gotten, plus the fact that he's got safe minerals at the back, is absolutely amazing. Premium Rush coming in here from LaN in this one, who has a very well defendable base, I would say. Easy wall off on the front, nice gold mine at the back, easy wall off on the left side, and the right side is also quite well wallable. The map is probably favoring our red player a little bit better here. Doc coming in for Villese. Villese just wants to go for an insane food income at the beginning. Like, 3 boars with Mongols, even pushing the deer, even going for fishing. I kind of feel like this could end up being a fast castle because he's so heavy on food that I would be massively surprised if he just wanted to go for a super fast feudal with all this stuff over here. So, Doc is coming in as well for LaN as the militias are coming in. Those militias are actually a decent idea for LaN because he could easily destroy the fishing ships of the opponent or just force them to stay idle. But it looks like LaN is thinking about a different thing. He wants to loop around and hit the back of the wood line. He's gonna play 3 militias, but the third one is lagging behind for the time being. And it looks like LaN is gonna play... What is he gonna play? Is this a fast castle? We'll have to see. The walls are still open for Villese, and the militias are getting close. So there could be a chance for LaN to do damage here with the militias. I think he needs to wait for the third one, though, to have a shot. Meanwhile, Villese apparently is going into a fast feudal at the end, but I don't think it's... Is it possible this is gonna end up being a fast castle? This would be the most brutal fast castle I've ever seen. I know it's only 22 pop, but come on. It's Mongols with 3 boars, hunt and fish, as the Drush is now definitely disrupting Villese, and I think he's trying to fast castle here. He's now mining gold, and he's got still the fishing incomes, he's got still villagers beneath the TC. This Drush is definitely making life very painful for him, and if this build gets disrupted, it's gonna be because of that. But if you look at the wood count and the amount of villagers he has on wood, it very much seems like he wanted to get some feudal age buildings down really fast here. Now he quick was in the villas, but he ended up losing a villager to a Drush in this case, as that villager is also going to be on the wrong side of things, but he will be able to escape. Also, no mining camp right now for Villese, so it's not going to be as clear as he wanted it to be. But this is still a pretty efficient fast castle style play here, even though it's not going to be a pure fast castle. On the other side, LaN is going for a Drush Fast Castle himself, but losing a board, he is actually gonna play with quite a few farms. I think the reason why Villese is playing Fast Castle here is because he probably anticipated Malians to go Drush Fast Castle. It's obviously not a 100% confirmation, but if he anticipated his opponent going for it, then it makes quite a lot of sense to just go for a naked Fast Castle yourself. One thing that he didn't expect is probably a Premium Drush, because it very much seems like he was caught off guard by those militias arriving, and it looks like now he's changing his mind because his food count is no longer as high as it used to be. His castlage time is still going to be very good, but it's not going to be like a good old-fashioned fast castle. He ended up grabbing double bit axe for himself here. He also popped up the fire galley, which means that now LaN's fishing eco is going to be exposed. Nice idea from Villese over there, because this way LaN cannot get the food income he needs. And I'm not gonna lie, LaN is not gonna have the food income for fast castle either. He had to mill his deer, but one of the ibexes are actually all the way out here. As, by the way, there is a hole here. Something that LaN never scouted. So technically he has a wall on his... or he has a hole on his wall. That's the thing I wanted to say. So, as things stand, it is 350 food for LaN, but he's not even mining gold. Which means the only way this works out is if he's selling resources. Oh no, he forgot about the gold mining. Even worse, he forgot about the gold. When you go for a fast castle play, you gotta send your villagers to gold right after you clicked up to feudal. Otherwise you're gonna be late, and you see this is why he's scrambling for 4 on gold, but even 4 on gold is not enough. You need 5 if you have gone loom and you're this late on gold. That's a disaster style build, yeah. And because of that, he won't have the resources for buildings. By the way, it looks like there's a forward villager couple coming forward. This is going to be a Drush Fast Castle into probably a Knight and Siege Hoang style push. That's what I'm thinking here. This is something that's somewhat common on Golden Swamp, especially if your opponent has made a dock and he's got a slow-moving army, like archers, for example. As Villese is getting ready to click up as well, will now wall off this side. Maybe LaN even wants to sneak in with those vills. That's not going to be successful. But, I mean, he may have tried sneaking in here and dropping a stable here somewhere. But that's not gonna happen. In fact, his vills may get spotted if he tries that. So, as things stand, LaN has one fishing ship alive, but it's pretty much idle because his dock is getting pressured pretty heavily. However, LaN is using his scout to try and just disrupt the fishing eco of Villese over here as well. And LaN managed to find a way to click up over here. He has gone up with Market Blacksmith, but soon there is going to be a stable here. The reason why he needs the market is because he sold 100 stone. He also needs the blacksmith because he will need a siege workshop. So he had to go with Market Blacksmith. He couldn't go with stable market or stable blacksmith in this one. These villagers will eventually drop a stable once the wood is there. Indeed, here it is for LaN. And on the other side, we're gonna have Villese with a comparable castlage time. Despite the fact that he didn't end up going for a fast castle play here, obviously, the massive eco advantage for the extra board with Mongols plus Hunt, plus the fishing eco that's still intact compared to the opponent is something that helps quite a bit in this regard. It looks like LaN is going to pop out a couple of fire galleys himself just to contest the fishing eco of the opponent, and this is a good diversion. I like that from LaN, because you see that the fire galleys appearing on the water from LaN makes Villese go for a second dock, which means that Villese right now is completely unaware of this push being prepared against him. And that is a massive, massive advantage here for LaN, I would say. So I really like how he's using these couple of fire galleys as sort of a diversion, making his opponent think that he is going to start pushing the water fully walled behind that one. Because reality is that there is going to be knights and mangonels coming in. I think LaN needs to be patient here. Patience is key. If he goes out with 1 mangonel and 2 knights, he's not going to do a lot of damage. He needs to wait until he has like 3 or 4 mangonels here. Because if you show up with 4 mangonels and 5 knights, your opponent is gonna take a lot of damage by the time it's able to react. If you just show up with 1 mangonel and 2 knights, you won't be doing much damage, and your opponent will just quickly react with a monastery, right? So this is why you want to slowly build up these numbers. And as I said, 3 mangonels, 5 knights, you don't need to rush anything. That's the thing here. Because what you want is to steamroll Vilese's base before Villese has a chance to react. That is indeed what LaN is doing. I really like his approach here. He wants to eat some town centers indeed, and maybe that's why he didn't pick Celts for this one. If you pick Celts, it's a lot more transparent, it's a lot more obvious that this could be a possibility. Whereas by picking Malians, it's not that common, and indeed here come the 2 mangonels. This is gonna come as a nasty surprise, and this is the difference here, as I said. 2 mangonels will do a lot more damage than 1 will, and you have a lot more time to do damage, or well, a lot more damage potential before your opponent has a chance to react. And now, Villese is the one suffering from heavy pressure in this one. Keep in mind there is a hole here on the walls of LaN, so these 2 archers could get in, and that could cause a lot of headache for LaN over there. But the knights are in, town center is being rushed up, and this is exactly why you don't just go in with 1 mangonel. You move in with multiple because you want to ensure that you can do a lot of damage before your opponent has a chance to react. That TC is going up, but it's gonna cost a couple of villagers for Villese, and indeed, it's not gonna be an amazing eco for LaN, but he's just here to eat town centers. Hoang would be proud in this one, and you see the problem that Villese is facing. This was his only wood line, and right now he just doesn't have the wood to even make a monastery to convert the knights or anything. He doesn't have the tools to stop this. He went for archers, and this is why it works out so well. Now, the front of LaN's base is wide open, so LaN needs to do something about this one, otherwise the archers will just move in and kill his entire eco. But it very much seems like this TC is going down, a stable is being rushed up by Villese, but now it is LaN being one step ahead, as he already has monks out to deal with potential camels, and the TC isn't staying up for long. Villese won't really have the wood to repair it against 3 mangonels for an extended amount of time. This is, as I said, copy-paste Hoang play in this one, as the knights will now dive in, because the TC is pretty low HP, so the villagers can no longer be garrisoned. Villese is trying to repair this one desperately, but he cannot, and LaN, the element of surprise, the surprise of the tournament so far, who defeated Jordan 3-2, then sort of got lucky with the fact that Viper had to forfeit, so he didn't have to play against Viper. But as I said, if LaN is actually given decent circumstances, decent technical background, so his internet is not a complete potato, he's a very dangerous player to play. And I want to highlight once again that when I woke up this morning, the official admin announcement was that LaN is feeling sick, and we don't know if the set is gonna happen. There was a possibility that this ends up being an admin win. About an hour before the set, it was posted that LaN, even though he was feeling sick, he decided to actually play this out, see how it goes. And boy oh boy, he played it out. And yeah, I mean, even if he lost, there will be credits going for him for playing this one sick. But even now, you see that it was worth it for him. And really, this last game was very good decision making from LaN. So I bashed him in some of the previous games for some of the more wacky decisions. This one was a top-notch decision making for him. And keep in mind that he did this after losing a board to Mongols. If he didn't lose that board, this could have been even more so clear-cut. He definitely tricked Villese into thinking that this will be a fight for the pond, and that bait worked out perfectly. By the time Villese realized what was going on, it was too late. 2 mangonels showed up, the knights were there, and Villese was just unable to react to that in time. LaN moves on to the next round, to the semifinals. Surprise player in the tournament, but as I said, this is not something that he didn't deserve. This is a totally deserved victory. I didn't see Seth versus Jordan, but based on what I've seen, I can see how he was able to beat Jordan. I feel like I would say that right now LaN is in a position where Hera was like half a year before he actually became very successful. So I'm seeing very close resemblance between LaN's playstyle and Hera's playstyle in many situations. Think about the infinite light cap flood, and that's not the only thing. So yeah, he's got a very reminiscent playstyle to Hera, but he also can go a little bit more of an aggro play as well. So he's got a pretty diverse arsenal of weapons. He can go for long games and slower paced ones. He can go for very aggressive strategies like you could see over here. And yeah, I think if LaN can find consistency, we could be another he could be another contender for a top 10 spot, making the competitive scene even more so entertaining. Congrats to LaN. Villese played really well in this one, but at the end, LaN is the one carving out victory, and he's gonna be in the semifinals tomorrow. It's gonna be the first semifinals, in fact.